And here we go. Welcome in to another edition of Bucky and BK. Today is Thursday, August 6th, 2026. And the Buck and I are with y'all for the next 2 hours on today's show. Your Buck Ons and Buck Offs. It is a Buck Off Thursday after all. Plenty of Texas football conversation. Fall camp has officially begun. Observations and takeaways from the first couple of days down on campus. We've got plenty of sound from Steve Sarkisian. We'll talk to Eric Henry from Horns 24/7, who's been there these last couple of days. Plenty of Texas football on the brain for sure. Plus, the NFL returns tonight. Some big headlines from around the National Football League and a little preview of the Hall of Fame game. We've got plenty of baseball to get into. And, of course, the BBK news and why today's not so bad. We are locked. We are loaded. We are ready to roll on a Thursday program, and we appreciate y'all spending some of your Thursdays with us. Buck, on to you, my man. How are you today?
I'm doing fabulous, man. Beautiful, another beautiful day. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous day today. A little cloud cover, but that's okay. It won't last long. It'll be sun shining tomorrow, hot as usual. Feeling good, getting a good sweat on. Just going from the car to get something to eat. Get your sweat on daily here now. It's August. That's just the way it goes, you know? By the way,
Beautiful
first,
is.
first full buck off to whoever let Martha Reeves do that song, sing the national anthem, and buck off to her also. I know I want to give her a buck on for, hey, at least attempting that. Don't do that again. They won't even let you do that at your church.
See, I'm
You
not
can't,
sure if I owe you an apology or if you should be thanking me because I deleted that audio of Martha Reeves singing the national
I'm
anthem.
thanking you. I'm truly thanking you.
Okay.
That's one of those sounds that Michael, get in this house. That's the way. I mean, that goes back to grandma calling at you right there. And she is
Yeah.
a grandma, and that's like, wow. Whoever let her do that, I know us olds, we like to try to do things, try to take it to the limit. But there's a time to quit. There's a time to give it up. And
Yeah.
yeah, very soon I'll be singing hopefully the Golden Chick song again. Golden Chick. That sounds better than her.
Oh, you still got it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What the hell? But
Yeah.
you can't do that. You can't do that to olds. You can't make them think they're what they used to be.
No, and some of that's on you olds. You need to realize that you're not what you used to be.
Yeah.
I think Martha Reeves probably knew she didn't sound the same as she did in the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
Maybe singing a national anthem in the mid 2020s out in public was not the best decision for her.
Wow.
And that was a rough listen. If you don't know what we're talking about, yeah, Martha Reeves, that Martha Reeves, Motown legend, sang a national anthem before the first ever Women's Pro Baseball League game. And well, most of y'all probably do know what we're talking about because it went incredibly viral and not for good reason.
Yeah, that was you can't do that to yourself, and for the people attempting to, and that's not what you want to start your new organization on either, your new league. That's not the way you want to do that. Good day to the soldiers at Fort Hood, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day. Thank you, thank you, thank you to you and your families. You all be safe out there, please.
Yes, indeed. Well said, as always. Well, let's talk some Texas football. Fall camp is officially underway. Some takeaways, some observations from day one yesterday. I think maybe my favorite story. And look, it's the first day. Nobody should freak out. Nobody should panic. Nobody should be drawing any general conclusions. There's no official depth chart after a first day or even first few days of fall camp. But John Meredith III, the freshman corner who reclassified, the number one corner in the country for the class of 2027, who just reclassified and joined the roster a couple of weeks ago. Not here for the spring, not here for the summer workouts. This was like his first practice as a Longhorn. Apparently, the heat got to him a little bit yesterday, and well, whatever he had for lunch did not stay in his system, Buck.
Yeah.
Welcome to a college football practice, young man.
You'll have that. And generally it's the big dudes generally that happens to.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy. Look, they practiced at 2:30 in the afternoon. It was red hot. It was humid. It's disgusting. You keep saying it's a beautiful day. I'm saying it's hell out here. And John Meredith is from Texas. I mean, he grew up in the Metroplex, so
Right.
he knows the heat. But again, a lot of these other guys have been working out with Torrey Becton, and they've been out in this Austin heat, and they've been through this before. We're talking about a player who should be getting ready for his senior year of high school. I don't think he's practiced or been through what he's about to be going through.
No,
So
your high school practices aren't like this.
no, no. Again, no need to freak out or panic. This is not
Right.
a character flaw, but I did get a kick out of that one. He had to excuse himself from practice yesterday, and again, give up his lunch that he had a couple of hours before.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, generally you just do that and you just either go right through the helmet or take the helmet off, barf, and then head back out there.
Hey, we've all been there.
But at some point, if you continue to barf, you can't hydrate yourself quick enough to get it all back. And then all of a sudden, now you're out there seeing 4 or 5 different wide receivers when there's only one in front of you. You know, that gets to be a little different there.
Yep,
And
yep,
and and for you high schoolers, that's why I said the importance of nutrition, hydration, and getting your rest. You've got to get all that you can, even before your practice is even starting. And coaches have to be smart on how they what they do to their kids. It's extremely hot. I know it's Texas. I know they've been through it. They've lived it. But right now, this is the hottest part of the summer. It's the way it's always been. And not everybody works out the same. It doesn't mean that they don't work out hard. They just don't work out the same, and their bodies aren't the same. So the coaches have to be careful too. You know, when they want to scream and holler at a guy for going over and get a little extra water, you can't do that. That's used to be the way the old days were. You didn't get a chance to drink BK until there was a break. And if
yeah.
there was a break, you couldn't go over and drink water. Now you get sued if you do that stuff. And you have to be careful with your kids. You could kill a kid out here.
We don't want any DJ Durkin situations.
No, no, and that's not just for the football players, that's for the band members and everything. If you need a drink, go get a drink.
Yeah. And Steve Sarkisian did say after practice, and we'll get to some sound from the head coach momentarily, but I think there were 5 cramps yesterday. He said the first year he was here back in 2021 for the first practice to fall camp that they did, he remembers 38 players dealing with cramping on the first day.
Sure.
So obviously a lot of the guys are used to it by now. And I don't know what the hell Tom Herman was doing, although based on the results of the team, I think it's pretty obvious that Tom Herman wasn't doing enough in that department. But yeah, it's hot. That's how it goes this time of the year. So I feel just fine about John Meredith the
Yeah, you know,
third.
you lose a player to injury, that happens. You lose a player to dehydration and them not being ready, or you're overdoing it, trying to overdo your boundaries with a player. That's dumb.
Yeah, that is dumb. No need to do any of that. Well, here's Steve Sarkisian. Plenty of sound from the head coach throughout today's program. We'll start with just his opening statement, his thoughts on how day one went yesterday.
You know, as always, it's great to be back on the grass with the team. You know, and as much as things have changed and some of the rules and being out with the guys in the summer, there's nothing like putting helmets on and being on the grass and practicing. And so, I think for us as a team, one thing we talked to the team about is getting back to the intent in which we need to practice and transition out of what we were into the summer to who we need to be in camp. And so it's our first day. I didn't expect us to be perfect. We got a long way to go. There were some bright spots. There were some rough spots. But in the end, it's, like I said, it's the first day. It was great being back out there. It was great sweating with everybody and going through it. So that's that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to get your guys back together. And he's talking about even the transition from segment to segment of your practices, how you go to the next segment. When that whistle blows or that horn blows and you got to run to another segment, guys jogging, guys just taking too long, segments not starting right on time, you know, guys explaining things to people. You're going to see that kind of stuff at the first practice. That's just the way it goes. When you gather that many people together, things aren't going to be as organized as you hope they would be. You know, you sit in the meetings as coaches and you time out everything, and you're expecting them to move like little chess pieces. They don't quite move that way after you've been dogging them a segment before that. They don't go flying over to a position and line up and, you know, some guys kind of jog, some guys they want that stuff to be orderly, but it's not the way you want it to be the first day. You don't have it perfected that way in the first day. A lot of different guys, you got young players that are doing it, some maybe for the first time, some, from spring ball, and it's not quite the intensity like spring ball. It is a little bit different now. This is for the season.
Yeah, well, we're 30 days away from
Right.
kickoff, so it's on. Yeah, back in the spring, you've got months to get ready, and not to
You'll
say
have your
people.
lollygaggers right now. Day one, there's going to be some lollygagging going on.
Yeah, well, there's some guys who, and a lot of these guys have been here. A lot of these guys have been working out, but you get a few days off before fall camp starts. There's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of guys who maybe realize that, all right, we're about to hit the ground running. Let me enjoy myself for a couple of days. And well, you could tell pretty early on who has stayed locked in and who maybe wavered a little bit, and that's
Oh yeah.
okay. But yeah, I'm sure coaches, they want to be the puppet master, right? They want to control everybody and everything at all times, and
They wanted
obviously
them to
that's,
be going. They wanted to be going perfect from day one.
yeah.
You don't get day one perfect practices. That doesn't happen.
I don't think that's ever happened in the history
No.
of college football training camp before, and I
No,
don't think
no,
that
no, 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 no. A
ever
lot of
will.
explaining, a lot of talking by coaches going on in day one. As I told you, the night before is all those meetings and all that. Then you jump out there the first day. If you think they're going to be, they are more like the freaking goats next door at my house. The way you get herded around, the goat herders from next door
Mm.
herd them around. That's kind of the way it is on day one. But for a coach, it's only day one because after that, there's not a lot of talking. There's a lot of screaming going on from this point on.
Oh yeah. Well, there was a lot of screaming yesterday. I think one of the big takeaways from those who were in attendance for the open media portion of the Texas spring practice was Will Muschamp's back. And that dude is loud and he's intense. And with Will Muschamp and Jeff Banks on the same field at the same time, I don't know if there's a louder practice in college football going on right now than the ones we have here at the University of Texas.
Wow.
Those two guys are loud. Those two guys are intense. They bring the energy, and you didn't have to be anywhere close to the field to hear Will Muschamp yelling. You could have just been driving on 35 at some point yesterday afternoon with your window down, and you would have heard that guy barking at somebody. That's just what he does. More sound from Steve Sarkisian. He was asked yesterday how the newcomers fared in their first day of practice. Nearly 50 new players on this Texas roster in 2026 compared to 2025. So how the new guys look in day one?
Well, I think they were good. I thought we were in good shape. This is probably one of our least cramped days of first day of practice. I think we had 5. I can tell you our first year here, I think we had 38. So that number has gone down every year. And so I just think the intensity of practice, the way they worked, I think them understanding of kind of how our practices go that helped them being in spring ball and now being back for training camp. So all in all, I think we've been really fortunate to have some really good additions, and then we'll see how much they can grow into being a real part of the team and how they can contribute.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a growing experience for everybody. The speed and everything else and how the coaches expect you to move around. The players themselves, they want to know the speed too. They think they have it down, BK, when they move to certain areas. When Will Muschamp is screaming at the guy's probably going, "Damn, coach, I'm going pretty fast here for day one, but it's not fast enough for him." So
Yep.
they start to get used to the way you coach. You get used to the way this person and that person goes. As I said, everybody's not getting screamed at. Everybody that's kind of cruising around, and not everybody's flying around. But there's certain guys that you can get on, and there's certain guys they're going to get it done, No matter
Yeah.
how they go from one thing to the other, when they get there, they're going to get it done. So you can scream at them all you want to, but they ain't going to move any faster. There's certain guys like that. I dealt with those kind of guys. I mean, I've been around guys like Jeff George. When that dude moved from segment to segment, it was like, oh, Jeff is almost here. We can almost start now. Here we go.
The quarterback can lollygag all he wants, but
Oh,
everybody else can't.
If you think he's running like the defensive backs over to the next drill, and even though he's the guy throwing passes, that dude is on a jog with his helmet in his hand on one of those cool slow jogs. He gets there, and nobody's screaming at him. It's just like, okay, he's here. We can start now.
He
But
gets
if
the
the
star treatment. That's how it works.
yeah, but if the rest of you are jogging around with your helmet in your hand, that's not going to work for everybody.
No, no, nor should it. Some of
No.
these guys have earned. If Colin Simmons wants to jog around a little bit, he can jog around a little bit. Now, I
Yeah.
don't think he is. I think he's trying to
No.
set the tone for some of the other players and some of the younger guys. But
It's a long, hot summer. You can set the tone early and get into your cruise control a little bit later, but you do want to show everybody around you that you're the experienced guy there, and the expectations are you do like me. You do as I say, not as I do all the time.
well, yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Here's more from Steve Sarkisian. He was asked about position battles, right? That's what a lot of people pay attention to during fall camp. We know there are a number of battles still up for grabs for these Texas Longhorns, right? Obviously, some starter spots are already solidified, that we do know, but a few guys fighting for playing time and fighting for starting jobs over these next few weeks. Here was Steve Sarkisian talking about how many position battles his team has right now.
A lot of them, I mean, I think this team is really deep, and we're going to need a lot of these bodies. You guys know what our schedule looks like, and you're playing 9 conference games now with Ohio State, Texas State, and UTSA, both probably going to be bowl teams this fall. So we've got a real challenging schedule. We're going to need as many bodies as we can, and the goal is to be a quality 2 deep at every spot. With hopefully you got a third guy that can play if he needs to, and so hopefully we can develop all of that. At all 3 phases. Because special teams is going to be crucial in that aspect as well.
Yeah, you got tons of bodies. You got tons of good bodies too. You don't have just bodies. You got guys that are quality players that if the first guy goes down, the second guy comes up, and you're not worried about the third guy. Some teams, BK, once you get past 2, they're horrified on what they have. Texas has enough athletes that they can get to, the third spot in some of these positions, which is a good thing. Or they have other guys that can flip over and play those positions, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah, well, you got to have depth, and Texas is hoping to play, 15, 16, 17 games this season. You can't just have starters and cross your fingers and hope that's
Right.
enough to get you through an entire season. So depth is important. I thought it was interesting, though, the very beginning of that cut where Steve Sarkisian says a lot of them. Like, I can't think of a lot of positions that are still up for grabs. Now, again, these guys are going to rotate.
He's talking about the offensive line group.
Well, I only think of one position on the offensive line that's up for grabs, and that's left guard, right? Like Trevor Goosby's your left tackle, Connor Robertson's your center, Brandon Baker is your right guard, and Melvin Siani's your right tackle. Nope, like maybe I'm wrong on that, but
yeah, I just don't think he knows enough. He wants to make that all. Everybody but the left tackle is fighting.
yeah, and that could just be coach speak, right? Like
It is. It's a lot of coach speak, but that's the one that he wants to make sure that he tells to the press and that the players, that gets back to them, that he's letting the offensive line know, you guys, everybody's position is open except for that left tackle. The rest of you guys this is a dogfight for you. Even though it may not be, he wants them to think that all the way through camp.
yeah, and he may be feeling that way to the running backs. He may be feeling that way with the wide receivers.
Who is the lead running back? They don't have a lead. They don't have a lead. They have a couple guys. They don't have a lead running back yet.
No, and for what it's worth, again, day one, you're not making any depth chart declarations at this point in camp, but it was a 1A, 1B situation with Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown. Hollywood Smothers was the first running back in drills. Again, I don't know if you should or could take anything from that, but Arch Manning was the quarterback handing the ball off and throwing the ball to either back. So both of those guys were getting a ton of reps with the ones. And Sarkis talked about it. We've talked about it. I think every Longhorn fan has talked about it. We know this is a 1A, 1B situation, which is different than what Steve Sarkisian has typically had in the past, both at Texas and, going to his previous spots as well as a head coach or an offensive coordinator. But, yeah, both of those guys are going to get plenty of run this year. And I don't know if it's worth putting any stock into this, but Ryan Niblett was the RB3 and Derek Cooper, the freshman sensation, was the RB4 yesterday.
Yeah, that still frightens me a little bit, but that's okay. Let's not get to RB3.
You're well, you just don't want Ryan Niblett. I don't think you're against a
No.
third running back. I think you're pro Derek Cooper. I think you're anti Ryan Niblett getting offensive snaps.
Yeah, I want him, like I said, I want him to be my special teams king. I don't need him. I don't need him in any extra little, okay, get my third running back in here, run a little bit. No, don't hurt your ankles. Go back there and catch more punts. Where's my punter at? Go down there and kick the ball to Niblett, will you?
Oh, yeah, Niblett, don't even work out with the offense. Go with the kicker and the punter. Be on that special teams field over there.
You tell me a week and a half before the game there was a couple special plays for him because I know if he gets in where it's going. So give me my two special plays of the game, coach. I'll come up there and work on those. But the rest of the time, I'm going to be fielding punch and making sure they don't bounce, in front of me and go behind me. I'll do all that thing I can do to be the number one punt returner in America. And
He's
that'll be
he's
just
already
fine.
done that.
I know, but go. Well, let's do. Hey, we're going to have to do it again because we're going to need it again.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, Texas led the nation in punt return average last year. Obviously, two huge Ryan Niblett touchdowns. He
Yes.
basically had three because the lone offensive touchdown Texas scored in that incredibly ugly overtime win against Kentucky was set up with a huge Ryan Niblett return that had the Longhorns at first and goal from like the 5-yard line.
Yeah, I'm not a always take it to the house guy. I'm that guy that if you bring it into scoring territory and they push you out of bounds, so be it. Those are big time returns to me.
Oh, yeah.
They don't all
He-
have to go to the house. I like them all to go to the house, but you know what a big time return looks like when you get that field position.
Sure. Well, he averaged 22 yards per return last year.
Wow.
So those are all, and obviously you had some big ones. The 75-yarder against
Amazing. Those
Oklahoma,
are
huge.
unbelievable numbers.
Yeah, but look, he's a difference maker. He's an impact player on special teams, and because of how electrifying he is when he has the football, you understand the logic of at least seeing what you can do with Ryan
Sure.
Niblett on offense. But yeah, they've got to be less predictable. That's something we've
And
talked about.
he knows the offense. He knows it better than Cooper still.
Sure.
He's been playing that his, I don't know, pseudo position. If he's not a receiver for a year, or a defensive back. He's been a running back, so he knows all those running back plays. So you might as well have him in there.
I think I don't even think he's a running back. Like, I know he's listed as one. I know he's working
Right.
with the running backs, but like, they don't have a position called gadget guy, but that's what he is.
Mr. Gadget.
Like, that's, yeah, go gadget, Mr. Gadget, whatever. Like, I don't, there's QB, RB, WR. I'm looking at all these, but I don't see like a GA for gadget
No.
guy. That's what Ryan Niblett
Right.
is. So yeah, look, if you're going to have plays for him this year, you've got to be less predictable. You've got to use him as a decoy at times. It felt like, yeah, every time 21 was on offense last year, he was getting the ball. Maybe Steve Sarkisian and company have figured out some other ways to really get him involved to where, yeah, okay, you want Ryan Niblett to have more touches because he's Ryan Niblett, but also you don't want the defense honing in on him every time he's on the field because they know it's going his way.
No doubt.
Can't have any of that. But yeah, that was the RB pecking order. And I mean, Derek Cooper, I know he was fourth, but that should be your first guy off the bus if we're talking running backs. I mean, 6'1", 212, he just looks bigger, and it's crazy. He's a freshman, but he already has that build that you're looking for in a super established college running back.
Yeah, that's homemade body right there. That didn't have to be a weight room. He just had that. He came that way. So that's pretty cool. And he'll just get better. And then like I said, it only takes that play, BK, even in the Texas State game. It doesn't have to be in Ohio State. He'll get into games. If he makes splash plays against Texas State, they're finding a way to get him in that next game.
Yeah, and we had heard during the summer that it was almost a 1A, 1B, 1C situation at times with Smothers, Brown, and Cooper. Like, it felt like he had done enough to, kind of get in that conversation with those top two transfers. So we'll see if his workload with the ones continues to pick up as camp continues to pick up as well.
Awesome.
All right, we'll get to more sound from Steve Sarkisian in a moment, including Sark was asked about the penalties again, Buck, and what the team is doing during fall camp to.
Now you're talking. Now
Yeah.
tell me what you're doing during fall camp. Yes.
So we will get to that sound from Sark, plus plenty more takeaways from training camp. But before we do, how about our first round of sponsor shout-outs?
Folks, Relax the Back embraces a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle. And once again, my back can be happier. Feeling great today after a round of golf in my chair. And I've been feeling that way for over 20 years thanks to the folks at Relax the Back. They have zero gravity recliners, Tempur-Pedic mattress sets, Tempur-Pedic pillows. They've got it all. And they've got human scale office chairs, desk, and all the accessories. The stand-up desk, if you want to stand up and do your work, they've got it all at Relax the Back. Two great locations. One is at the Hill Country Gallery across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center right across the street from the Container Store. Live pain-free like the Buck at Relax the Back.
Yes, indeed. Relax the Back. Two great locations, super clean, great people working there. And I didn't even tell you this, Buck. So I'm moving, in the process of moving. I feel like I can relate to these Texas football players because I'm out in the heat a lot.
Oh,
Doing
yeah.
Physical activity, doing some lifting,
Working
moving
those
around.
sleds. Yep.
Yeah, no, we've got sleds. My girlfriend's got sleds, so we're
Nice.
I've got her on the three-man right now. My parents are giving me their Relax the Back massage chair for the new place.
Get out of town. They're getting ready to get a new one.
Oh
Pops is
yeah.
looking for a new one.
Yeah, they're gonna get a new one. It's like, all right, you take the used one, kid.
The one
You
you've
don't
been using up over here.
Yeah, I probably used it more than they did anyways. But yeah, you get the used one, kid. We're going to buy the nice fancy new one from Relax the Back. But I am very excited about that. Love Relax the Back. That's one of the first new additions to the new place. And another one of the early additions to the new place, AV Consultations. Already on the schedule, Tom McKay. Look, football season starts tonight, y'all. The NFL Hall of Fame game. Do you think I'd forget? Absolutely not. Obviously, the real stuff is right around the corner, which means you're running out of time to make the call to AV Consultations to elevate your sports watching experience. Don't go through another football season where you're driving to the sports bars every Saturday and Sunday, or you're driving to a friend's place, or you got to watch one game on your TV and then one on your phone and one on your computer. You deserve better in this life. AV Consultations can hook you up if you want the multi-screen man cave like I have, or the woman cave. If you want the big screen like the Buck, if you want the home theater room, whatever it is, let AV Consultations hook you up the way they've hooked up thousands of Central Texans since 1988. They've been around longer than I've been alive. They're about 100 years short of the Buck when it comes to how long they've been around, but that's okay. Give them a call, 512-255-8678, or check them out online at avconsultations.com.
I've got this pet peeve of mine. We love our folks at Woods Comfort Systems, but one of my pet peeves has always been if I go and take a shower and the drain and the water doesn't drain down or it sits there. I know we get that problem every once in a while, folks. I don't know if you're living with a Yeti, your hair's falling out, or whatever it is, you're using bad gel, conditioner, or whatever. Sometimes that drain can get clogged up. Let me tell you, you don't want to mess around with that drain. It drives me nuts when that happens to me. I freak out if I'm standing in that stuff like that, and it's happened to me before. Now, at Woods Comfort Systems, they're doing, of course, they do plumbing now. You got to trust in them. If reoccurring drain problems happen to you, it can become a big problem, because the first thing you want to do is you want to run to the store and get yourself some Drano or something and stick it down there and screw up your plumbing, or have that stuff come back up and you've got your feet in it. You don't want to do that. Let Woods Comfort Systems get that done for you right now. They are doing a great job for only $70 right now. They're going to find out what the problem is, BK. They'll clean out the drain, they'll get rid of the clog, and they'll get that free camera inspection right to you. I mean, that is awesome. Whether it's in your sink or in your shower, you want that drain cleaned up, and you don't want to start throwing a bunch of stuff. And Woods Comfort Systems won't do that. They have cameras. They've got the snake to get it down there and get it done. You don't. All you do is start pouring stuff down. Let Woods Comfort Systems doing it. They've been doing it for 71 years, and now they're doing such a great job in plumbing. It's only going to cost you $70, and they'll bring the camera with them. Woods Comfort Systems, nobody does it better.
I like that. WoodsComfortSystems.com. Yeah, the quickest way to lose my trust is to, I'm at your home. You invite me over. That's very nice. I appreciate that. And then I don't know, I use the bathroom, then I go wash my hands at the sink, and there's just pooling water there.
Oh,
Like I'm doing a normal hand wash and the water's just not draining. That tells me that you just live like that, and that's disgusting.
that is crazy. I mean, that scares me. And like I said, people will try Drano. and then they'll run the water, and it may go down. It comes back up, and if you're standing in that, your feet and Drano don't mix well together.
No, I feel like that's chemicals. I don't think you're
Yeah,
supposed
yeah,
to be
yeah,
standing. I feel like they advise against that.
yeah. People advise against that burning the bottom of your feet, I would think.
You know what people advise doing?
What's that?
Drinking Altstadt beer.
Yeah, baby.
At least I'll advise you to do that. Of course, I'll advise you to do it responsibly, but look, you're going to be drinking this football season. We're all going to be drinking. Well, not the Buck during football season. You need a great beer for your tailgates, for your watch parties. Maybe you're just staying at home every weekend. Kick your feet back, crack open a nice cold Altstadt beer, and enjoy football. You're going to need it to get through this Hall of Fame game tonight, I'll tell you that right now. But whatever you have going on all football season long, and of course the time leading up to football season, your good times are made better with a great beer. Altstadt, brewed locally in Fredericksburg, easy to find, available wherever you shop for beer. They've got a bunch of different brews, something for every beer drinker out there. This is award-winning stuff. It's not just me telling y'all about how good Altstadt is. They continue to get praised by folks all over the country. We're just lucky enough to have it right here in our own backyard. Again, get you some bars, restaurants, liquor stores, grocery stores, wherever you shop. You deserve the best. Get you the best. It's Altstadt beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Very nice.
All right, more sound from Steve Sarkisian's post-day one media availability. And I think I got to give a shout out to Anwar Richardson at Orange Bloods. I believe he was the guy who asked this question to Coach Sark yesterday. It's something you and I have talked about a lot. And Sark was asked about this at SEC Media Days a couple of weeks ago, and he gave an answer. But he was asked again about penalties, right? Texas, the second most penalized team in college football in 2025. They've been ranked outside of the top 70 in the nation in penalties in each of the last 3 seasons, so it's been an issue. And we've talked about the stat that the last 5 national champions have all finished in the top 40 in that statistic. And Indiana, who obviously just won it all, they were number 2 in the country in penalties per game. So I think most Longhorn fans agree that it needs to get cleaned up. Steve Sarkisian told us a couple of weeks ago that that's been a point of emphasis for his team in the offseason. Sark was asked yesterday, how do you actually work on cleaning up the penalties during fall camp?
Yeah, well, I mean, we make it as intense as possible between, Coach Muschamp, Coach Flood. I mean, everybody's screaming and doing their stuff. I think, like I touched on at Media Day, I think it's group punishment too. And I hate saying it like that, but that's the reality of the situation. Everybody's got to feel the effect of a penalty, because that's what happens in a game. One guy doesn't get flagged and he's the only foul. It's all of us. We all feel that. And so I think that innately has helped. And I think across the ball, a little bit of the banter has helped, that they're digging into each other, because both sides of the ball know how important it is for us to reduce our penalties. And so the little bit of that banter I thought showed up today. I thought it was healthy. It was good too.
Yeah, a little peer pressure never hurt in that. Like I said to you, the quarterback on the offensive side has to be the guy. Sorry, Arch, you may not want to be the bad guy, but this is one time you have to be the bad guy. If you're the one doing it, smack yourself in the head or let somebody talk to you. But if you got offensive linemen who are jumping and being jumpy and grabbing guys, and especially the penalties before snap, snap count penalties, because as I said, it was only 5 seconds ago that I just told you what the snap count was. How dumb are you? I mean, you got to let them know, and you got to let them know in a hard way. That's not acceptable. And that had to start yesterday.
Yeah.
You go those 3 counts, 2 counts, those hard 2 counts where you're trying to make the other guys jump off sides and your guy jumps, you got to let your guy have it. I mean, then I know the coaches are letting them have it. That peer pressure can be that way, and that's hard to do. Guys don't like to be talking to other guys about that, because every once in a while you're going to get one of those.
For sure.
But that's how you do it. That's one of the ways to do it. I mean, and still the other one is, you bring, more officials to practice. You have a little bit more of an eye on that. They don't have to throw a flag on every play, but one guy can be in the ear of the head coach. Coach, that was a hole. I didn't throw it. Because eventually, what the coach is going to tell him closer to game time? Throw it. Stop. Blow a whistle. We got to stop. I'll make them pay for making us stop, But you blow the whistle. Don't give a guy a break. You bring an extra official in there, and he calls a penalty, and instead of calling the penalty, he goes over and tells the coach, when you get closer to game time, he says, "Coach, that would have been a legal procedure." And, tell him, stop it. Stop the play, stop the practice. We're going to do something about it. We're not going to just let it go. And you don't need to tell me. I need to be able to communicate that to them immediately, not after practice. The guy came over and said it a couple times to me that you had a legal procedure, you're moving your hand or whatever. No, I want to stop practice and let them know how important it is. Those are, and I'm pretty sure that somebody to ask him again, you'll see the officials, you'll see maybe one or two extra dudes that are there. If that's a point of emphasis, the point of emphasis is to bring another official, bring more than you usually do, to really have an eye on it. But then you stop practice. Coaches don't like to stop practice and lose time, BK. There's your peer pressure right there.
Yeah. Are you satisfied? I mean, yesterday was just shells and shorts, no pads, so I don't think there were any refs out there. But did you enjoy what you heard from Steve Sarkisian in that response there?
I'm fine with that. Once again, day one is not going to be perfect. Dude, there's going to be guys jumpy. It's just the nature of it. You got new guys playing with other guys. You got guys trying to show their footwork real quick. They get jumpy. They jump off. And on day one, like I said, day one is day one. Day two, it ain't going to be anything like day one, because the screaming starts now, and the peer pressure starts, and the running or whatever you make your position group do because a guy jumps and everything else, that all starts today. Maybe not yesterday, but it starts today.
It almost sounds like it started in the summertime. If you've got organized things that you do, and you've got your strength and conditioning coach in charge of it, well, hell yeah, he understands football. Well, it sounds like it started in the spring. I mean, if you take Steve Sarkisian at his word, he said like back in January that was something he started preaching. So it wasn't asked about it that much back then, but if Sark's telling us the truth, then they've been doing the accountability bit for months now. So the hope is it's already made some sort of impact. And then obviously the more you do it, you know, when you get to kickoff, that problem is solved.
But once again, they all understand what day one is about.
Sure.
It can't be, you can't
it would suck though, Buck. Sorry to cut you off, but you're going against air. You better not be jumping early against air, right? Like, hopefully there weren't a lot of penalties yesterday.
No. But hell, if you have two guys that have a legal procedure during the course of throwing the ball to just snapping it back or whatever, or you're just dropping back and doing stuff, and some guy jumps early, and there's no official there, and it's a flag, the guys will lose their cookies. But you're going to have guys, like I said, people are going to be jumpy. It's different. It's a different type of practice. Everybody's trying to get on the same page. The speed of everything else, sort of like when you don't have pads on, there's a certain speed. There's another speed when you have, the shells on. You don't want to be hitting a guy that doesn't have pants on and stuff. You don't want to be taking people's ankles out and things. So they're just getting used to the speed of what the head coach wants. Now, you do that in the spring. A lot of guys are here, but there are a lot of new guys, too, that weren't here in the spring. And you want them to get used to the speed of what you're expecting when you don't have pads. In a couple of days when they put on pads, BK, it's balls to the wall. And everything goes full go. By the time you get to shoulder pads and kind of thigh pads, even if you're not wearing the long pants, but you have thigh pads on, and guys are getting down around your waist area, that's full speed. It just goes. And if you're jumping off sides and being jumpy, and some guy gets you, the defensive guy, you move as an offensive player, and the defensive guy goes across, and you know who it's on. That's when the position stuff starts. Or that's where the quarterback, to me, really has to be the leader now on this offense. A lot of this illegal procedure may be on certain players, but he's the guy who has to take control of that and let them understand how important it is. Because the head coach is going to do it to them as a group. We're hearing that he's doing to them as a group. But the head man on the offense will be Arch Manning. He's got to let them know how important that is. That when you jumped over there, I could see out of the corner of my eye you just jumped. Don't screw us up. You screw up the team. It's not just you. It's the team that suffers when you do that.
Yeah, well, a couple of thoughts on that. Number one, I appreciate Steve Sarkisian making that a point of emphasis, right?
Yes.
I think it has taken a little too long for him to make that a point of emphasis, or at least tell us that that's a point of emphasis. But I like that people are asking about it, and I like that he, we've called Sark snarky Sarky at times because he hasn't always been happy with every question that's been lobbed his way. And I think I like red zone offense issues. He was getting ticked when people kept asking him about that. Like, well, Sark, people are asking you about it for a reason. It's not good enough. Penalty. There's no argument that Steve Sarkisian could make that the penalty problem doesn't exist. So I appreciate that he's responding to it. He's acknowledging it. And more importantly, that he's actually doing something about it. Of course, we'll all see if what he's doing works, but that I do appreciate from him. And then you talk about Arch Manning. Like, how many times have you told me, how many times have we heard that the best locker rooms are player-led locker rooms? So
for sure.
It can't just be your coaches, like you're saying, telling you, hey, stop committing penalties. It's got to be your teammates making you feel like a POS for committing penalties. Like you said, this doesn't just cost you. Could cost us a game against Ohio State in week 2, in Knoxville against Tennessee. Like, you can't be making these mistakes. So the accountability from the players may be a little tougher because of all the newcomers that you have, but you've got to set that standard there too. I totally agree.
Well, you got a defensive coordinator that won't put up with it on defense. He understands the guy's going to get beat. There's going to be pass interference every once in a while. He's not going to understand you jumping the snap just because you want to get to the quarterback or get to a play. He's not going to understand that. You look at the ball. All you got to do is look at the ball. Wide receivers out there moving around. There's never an excuse for that. You're looking right in at the ball. That's all you need to see. You don't even need to know the snap count. All you have to do is see the ball, and then you go. You can react as quick as trying to, time up the snap count and then jump offside. That's goofy. That's goofy play. That's not smart football.
There's a lot of goofy last year. For
Texas. Oh my God.
I like that word.
That's hard to believe. It's just goofy play. And offensive linemen are, once again, defensive linemen are going to hate it. Quarterbacks, running backs are going to, the running backs and wide receivers aren't going to hate it because they're dopes anyway. But usually the offensive linemen are the smartest guys on the football field. That's hard. I mean, they may be the nastiest, disgusting guys, but they're the smartest intellectually on the football field. And when they jump and do stuff because they've missed the snap count, when you just told them that's what ticks the coach off, is those guys. And the fact that it wasn't told to them 45 minutes ago, it was told to them, but by the time you break the huddle and run to the line, and they're like, hey, what was the snap count? And you can see guys sometimes going, what's the snap count on? Dude, he just told it to you. Come on. And those are the guys that have to make quick decisions, and people in front of them, and as they move, and then they got the snap count, they lose. It's like they lost their mind.
You used the word goofy, and the whole team was, but the offensive line, the biggest goofs last year. You said the offensive linemen are typically the smartest people. Maybe it's my UTSD kicking in because I didn't see that last year. They were the biggest culprits of the penalties. And again, they weren't alone. There's blame to be shared by different position groups on offense, defense, and special teams. But this offensive line was more penalized than anybody else. And that hopefully will get cleaned up. Lawrence Seymour, who they brought in from Western Kentucky, now he still has to win the job at left guard.
Yes,
but he had one penalty. He had one penalty last year, Buck, at Western Kentucky. He started every game, played like 850 snaps. He had one penalty. Melvin Siani, I think, 5 or 6 penalties. I got to double check my numbers there, but those guys are good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, one penalty over the course of an entire season. I don't care what level of college football you're playing. That's not easy to do at all. So hopefully, at least if Lawrence Seymour does win the job, maybe he's not perfect. Maybe he's not an All-American or an All-Conference player, but if he could just be stable and not move you back.
Yes.
A bunch of times over the course of the season, then that is an upgrade over anything that you had there last year.
Yeah, it'll have to be better, and I think what the coach is putting an emphasis on, and he's not afraid to tell people, and he's not afraid to answer the question when you ask him about that. What else are you doing? Because we won't know until after the first and second game, because there's going to be some penalties in the first game. That's just life in football.
Yeah.
That's 11. That's a different 11 that you're going against, no matter if they're inferior or better than you are. It's just different. They make you want to jump. You want to show everybody how quick you can get off to a quick start and stuff like that. Just got to hold your water. It's hard for an offensive lineman. I could see that. Like I said, there's a lot of things that happen right in front of their face. But if they don't know the snap count when the things happen, that's even worse. That's now you're really in trouble, you know?
Well, here's what can't happen. Like obviously last year, Texas's first game was on the road at Ohio State, but
Yes.
their first home game, week 2, was against San Jose State. Texas won 38-7. In that game, playing at home against a bad team, and Texas State, I think, is better than San Jose State, for the record. The Longhorns had 12 penalties for 115 yards
That's
against
amazing.
the Spartans. Like, what are we doing? You know, you don't understand that against any team. Like on the road, Georgia, Ohio, whatever. That's unacceptable anywhere. But at home against them, like that's the showing.
They had some of the most egregious penalties when they were home, didn't they?
They did, yeah. I mean, it was not just, oh, they just can't handle the atmosphere on the road. Now, they did lose a couple of games on the road. All 3 of their losses were on the road. So they found a way to win despite some of their penalty issues. But, yeah, they were not clean even here when the 100,000 people were quiet when they were on offense.
They've checked out the issue. They understand the issue, and they're not quiet about it like it's nothing. We still win games no matter what. No matter what we do. I don't think they're going to go into it with that attitude. We still find ways to win games, even if we have 14 penalties. No, we're not going to have 14 penalties, and we're going to win the game and not have to go through any of these headaches of penalties and overcoming things that we shouldn't have to overcome, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, none of us. I know Texas won that game against San Jose State, but no one was leaving that game like, yeah, no, they looked good. That's what we wanted to see. That was a frustrating performance for sure. All right, more sound here from Steve Sarkisian. Let's talk about Arch Manning, Buck. I mean, Arch Manning, year 4 at Texas, going into his second season as the starter. Earlier this offseason, Steve Sarkisian kind of compared Arch Manning to a very veteran NFL quarterback, where it's like, yeah, we trust him. He knows what he's supposed to do. He doesn't need to go through all of the offseason stuff. Obviously, Arch was very limited in the spring coming off of offseason foot surgery, but his stuff is ramped up. He's 100%. He was out there. Here's Steve Sarkisian yesterday. He was asked, what would make a good training camp for your starting quarterback?
I think being really efficient, you know, having really good rapport with the receivers, the offensive line, his ability to continue to take care of the football, I think is huge for him. And then his ability to find those explosive plays that I think we want to be as an offense, and a lot of that's going to come from him.
I like his ability to have that relationship with this offensive line. Once again, he's going to have that. He's going to know where the weak link is, no matter who it is. Somebody's a weak link on that offensive line. They don't all play the same. So he's going to find out, BK, when the pressure comes and where it's coming from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He'll understand that the minute he drops back, he is going to know by watching film of the opposing players that go against his weak link where the pressure is probably going to come from in game. And that's good to know as a quarterback, you know?
Well, the problem last year was it was coming from like 3 to 4 spots.
Yes, that's what that's
So it's not like, oh, it's only the left guard that's bad. Let me just like roll to the right a little bit. It's like, oh, there's someone coming there, there's someone coming there, someone coming up here.
No, yeah. I think all the other things that he talked about are going to be better. Relationship with wide receivers, the easy throws, take the easy throws, making the big plays when things break down. You're going to do it, and just that. Rely on your athletic ability. It's there. There's 15 yards. Let me just go take it right now. They've made a mistake. They've turned their back on me. There's 15 yards. I'll slide down. First down, let's move on. But his ability, quarterback's ability to know where the weak link is on their offensive line is important. Like you said, they had about 4 weak links. He was spinning his eyeballs were moving all over the place. They couldn't get downfield because he was wondering where the pressure was going to come from. But I don't expect him to have 3 different pressures. There's going to be one. Then on occasion, somebody's just going to beat their ass. That's just the way it is. They're just better on the other side. Yeah. You know, hopefully there won't be. Hopefully there'll be some stalemates. But he's going to know because he's going to watch film too of where or how good that defense is on some of these teams in the SEC and even Ohio State. He's going to know where the weak link is against Ohio State because he's going to be studying that film. He's played against them.
No, I bet he's been studying that film for months. I mean, I don't know if Arch Manning is a vengeful guy, but he's been asked about that performance in Columbus a couple of times. And
sure,
he's talked about it not being fun and being one to forget, and that's how we all feel about it. But I think he's had this rematch circled on his calendar for a very, very long time.
They
He
put
wants
him on a very
revenge.
high pedestal, college football did last year for
Sure.
this particular game. So he is going to use game one to hone in his skills, and he's going to use game two to prove to the nation he is that quarterback. That's what's going to be fun for me to watch.
Oh yeah, and that whole game, that whole week will be on a pedestal. I mean,
Yes,
we'll see what the AP poll looks like, but the coaches poll, which came out earlier this week, had Ohio State number one.
yes.
And if I had a vote in the AP poll, I would put Ohio State number one. And I think there's a very good chance when the Buckeyes come to town on September 12th, they are the top-ranked team in the country. So it's almost fitting because Texas was number one when they lost at the shoe
Right.
last year. You really want to get your poetic revenge. The Buckeyes could be number one when they come to town. But yeah, everyone's going to be paying attention to that game. The pressure, the expectations are there. But it's a lot different. This time Arch Manning's been through the gamut. He started a full season at Texas. He knows what it's like. Last year, obviously, first game, first year as a starter. Hopefully he's much more comfortable this time around.
Yeah, I was up a little bit around 3:30 this morning and had that game on my mind. And I was thinking, what would you think the score would be of that game if you're, and we've talked about Texas needing to score more. I thought Texas, last night, my mind was set on 34-27 Texas.
Mm, I mean, I would sign up for that, but you've been saying double digits for a
I
while,
know,
and now I think you're starting to get nervous on me, and I don't love
no,
that.
no. I originally in that, and then I let the dog slap me in the face and wake me up. I said 40-27. I was like,
Oh, 40?
yeah, then I said, nah, but let's just go ahead and leave it right there. 34-27 is okay.
Hey, that would be a win and a cover.
Yeah, because of what you do to the team the week before, they're not the same body's going to be on the other side. It's not going to be that simple. But 34 will be good against a team like Ohio State, I got to believe.
Yeah, 34-27 against the Bobcats, and I might quit this job.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
that's
want to
that's a
deal with.
lot different. But against that team the following week, you get 34 points and hold them to 27. That's, you know what? And I was saying double digits because, like I said, my original thought was 40, but I'll go back to 34-27. I'd like to have that score. That's okay.
That's more than okay. Just beat them. I don't care how much you beat them by.
I
Just
know
beat.
them in Georgia. I know I should just be saying nice win.
Yeah, you can beat them
No.
3-2 for all I care. Like,
Oh,
just
God.
find a way to win, or 2-0. Hey, pitch a shutout, and the defense gets you two on a safety. Whatever it takes, just find a way to have more than them when the game is over. Well, considering Texas has scored a total of 21 points in their last two meetings against the Bucks, yeah, I would sign up for 34 right now. And I mean, Ohio State is loaded with talent. They always are, but their defense lost so much.
Yes.
Well, what do they have? Three guys drafted in the top 11 picks?
Yeah, let's go ahead and you're not replacing those guys immediately or
Oh,
in week two. That I know they're good ones behind them, but not that good.
oh yeah, they
Get them when the getting is good.
they had four players overall drafted in the top 11, but one of them was a receiver, Carnell Tate. Yeah, three defensive players taken in the first 11 picks of the draft, and they had a defensive tackle, Caden McDonald, who went to the Texans very early on day two. They had their top corner go in round two. I mean, they lost a couple of other. It's Ohio State. It's how it works. You could say this about them every year, but Matt Patricia was great on that side of the football last year. I still don't really know how good of a coach he is. And now I wonder, without all of those ready-made, and Caleb Downs could have played in the NFL last year.
Yeah,
Sonny
for sure.
Styles could have played in the NFL last year. Arvell Reese, same thing.
Yes.
So you lose those ready-made pros, and I just like it's early in the season. Maybe Texas can catch them at the right time.
Dude, it's at home. You got players too. You're at home. No excuse.
No excuse. Yeah, there's definitely no excuse. Find a way to win that game for sure. Talking about Arch Manning, maybe my favorite takeaway, what I heard and what I read about from day one. They don't let us go to these things. They try to keep us out of the public eye. Good move, Texas. Good move. But the Arch Manning Ryan Wingo connection was apparently very strong. And the best highlight play of the day was a 40 to 45 yard deep shot touchdown pass from Arch Manning to Ryan Wingo, where Wingo got a foot down in the back of the end zone, nicely thrown ball. Again, shells and shorts, you're throwing against air. There was no defense, but Buck, I think it goes without saying, if those two guys are more in sync, not the boy
Yes.
band this year, the ceiling for this offense goes up tremendously. It felt like those two guys were never on the same page, and we saw it early against Ohio State, but unfortunately that was a problem all year long. If those two guys can figure it out, then watch out.
There's no doubt. That's my biggest deal this year is that if those two get on the same page, there's where your points total goes up. The other things are going to happen in the run game and with your other, Cam Coleman's going to get open and he's going to get the ball. You're going to have. It looks like you have some explosive players in the backfield and still an explosive freshman that's on the bench that'll come in for some certain plays. So, I need those two to be in sync. I think he'll be in sync with everybody. I think Mosley will catch a bunch of passes. I really do. Like I said, and as good as the run game is, if the pass game is going, hell, you don't have to run the ball for my benefit or anybody's benefit. If you can throw it and score points, throw it. If they can't cover you, throw it.
Hey, you got to go Mike Leach, RIP, and throw the ball 50 or 60 times.
Hey,
If that's your best offense, then
you got the quarterback to do it. You got the receivers to do it. If your offensive line is holding guys out and their teams are afraid enough of your run game, then go do what you do best.
Yeah. Hey, I don't think they'll need to do that. I don't think they will end up doing that. But if that's the situation,
there may come a game or two where they may need to do that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I think both of those guys, Arch and Wingo, they've got doubters to silence, don't you?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, obviously, nationally, Arch Manning has some. That guy gets talked about by everybody.
There'll be people that'll
day.
talk about Wingo having, hey, what are you talking about? That was a pretty good year for a wide receiver.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think national people will look at Wingo's numbers and they'll see that he was second team All SEC and be like, that guy is like, there's nothing to fix there. He's really good, and now he's going into year 3. And again, we bring him up. I feel like we always have to throw the caveat. He did a lot of really good things for Texas. He was their best receiver on this team last year, I think, by a pretty considerable margin. But we know there's a lot more there. We know the ceiling's a lot higher. We know he left some meat on the bone last season.
We're trying to win a championship. We're not trying to win just a bunch of games. Hell, they won 10 games last year.
He's got doubters to prove wrong. And I think most of his doubters are here in Austin or just Texas fans everywhere.
Yeah, I agree. It was more than just what we saw. They all saw that last year.
Yeah, so if those guys are just more connected, again, I mean, some of it was drops, but some of it was just like Arch felt like Wingo was going to be here and Wingo was over there.
Right.
All the catch they've apparently played this offseason. And look, obviously a bunch of game experience doesn't hurt too, but that you've been on this for a long time, and I agree with you 100%. The ceiling of this offense, you want to get to 40 points per game or at least close to it. And you want to get to 34 against Ohio State like you're talking about. You're going to need number 16 and number 1 to be like this season. All right, we'll take your thoughts. The Dakota text line, 512-222-9328. We'll chop it up with Eric Henry of Horns 24/7, who was out there at practice yesterday. We'll get his takeaways from what he saw. We've got more sound from Steve Sarkisian, more Longhorn football on the brain. Of course, we'll dive into some NFL chatter as well because we've got a game tonight. Oh, yeah, baby. But before we go any further, how about another round of sponsor shout-outs?
Remember, folks, Sue Patrick has been around for 50 years. Now, Sue's been around for more than 50 years, but the store has been around for 50 years. They got an incredible selection of Longhorn apparel, of course, collectibles, accessories, and even more. Tons of Texas-themed items, gifts, books, cards, head covers, golf balls, luggage, sneakers. They've got it all. Wide variety of men's and women's clothing in all sizes. They offer free shipping on online orders, $59 or more, free curbside pickup, plenty of parking space at 5222 Burnett Road. Go on by there, get your ball caps, get your T-shirts. If you're taking that trip to some other part of the country, you want to have your Longhorn gear, that's the place to go. The Jellycats are restocked. Buck's got to get some more Jellycats for his grandkids. We know that. Not for himself, but for the kids. Once again, Sue Patrick, 50 years in the Austin area. Plus, they've got those nice Tommy Bahama shirts, BK, that you wear to the games that are cool, but it looks nice when you go out to dinner. They've got those bowling shirts that are awesome right now. over at Sue Patrick. For more information, folks, go to SuePatrick.com.
Yes, indeed. Love our great friends at Sue Patrick. Also love our friends at Centex Tickets as
Yeah.
well. Hey, get your gear at Sue Patrick and then buy some tickets at Centex Tickets so you could show off that gear
Yes.
to Longhorn fans this season. They're ready to go. Tickets available on site right now for every Texas football game this season. Home, away, neutral, up in Dallas. It doesn't matter. If you want to attend a Texas Longhorn game this year, CentexTickets.com is the place you need to go to find your tickets. And it's not just Longhorn football. They got you covered with every Texas Longhorn sporting event. And it's not just Longhorns. If you want to catch a Round Rock Express game, Texas Stars hockey returns in the not-too-distant future. Austin FC still playing this season. Any sporting event, any concert, ACL Music Festival, Formula One. I realize that's a sporting event. You catch my drift. Any big event coming to town, if you want to be there in person, CentexTickets.com. And don't forget the promo code, Centex10. They're giving you free money, 10% off of any ticket purchase from our great friends at CentexTickets.com.
And we love those folks. So, of course, Hat Creek Burger Company had that yesterday. My round of golf. What a big man I am. How about double with cheese yesterday, fries, and a cold glass of iced water to go along with that. Didn't do the milkshake. The temperature was a little hot. I think I said it was going to be 101 yesterday for my Cowshy folks out there. I think I had that just about on the number, y'all. I told you to get it done. They've been serving burgers, fries, and shakes here since 2008. Hat Creek Burger, good food, good folks, and a whole lot of good fun. It's just that simple. Proud to be a place where you can come in hungry, but you are going to leave full. That is for sure. Over 30 locations in the state of Texas. Great playgrounds for the kids and great happy hour for the adults there. The Hat Creek Burger Company, there's something for everyone.
Yes, indeed. Love Hat Creek Burger Company. And you brought up Cowshy. Yeah, you can actually trade on the weather with Cowshy. Seriously.
And you got a weatherer right here.
You've got an expert weatherer, although you typically just do the rain. You don't always do temperatures, right?
No, I don't. That's right. I preach, I just do rain. So you're right about that.
I got to double check the Cowshy app. I know you can trade on the high temperature in Austin today and every day. I got to befriend I would say befriend a weather guesser, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So that's not going to do me any good. No insider trading there.
No.
Love Cowshy. Hey, before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. We're all making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Cowshy, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. We're about to get into some NFL conversation. We're about to talk a little Dallas Cowboys football. Dak Prescott is confident. Are you confident? Well, the Cowboys qualify for the playoffs this season. Right now, they're trading at 54%, meaning a $100 trade would pay $179 if they clinch a playoff spot. On Cowshy, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there is no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position at any time. It's a beautiful thing. Trade the draft, pick the game, and more on Cowshy. How about this promo? Download the Cowshy app. Use code Bucky to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. Yes, you heard me right. Kalshi. That's Cowshy. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk. It may not be suitable for all investors. Cowshy products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Cowshy.com/regulatory.
By the way, I played golf at Valor Creek in Blanco yesterday, and thank goodness for my early bird CBD. Man, it's green as can be out there in Blanco, BK, and walking through the fairways, and into the rough where I was a lot yesterday, took a lot out of me because, of course, I got out of the cart after putting my drops in my hydration drink. 4 miles of walking yesterday, at the time when I played, it was so hot, and I was going, this is going to be one of those times where they're going to drag you in there or tell the cart girl to come and get you. But boy, with that early bird CBD, I have plenty of energy. I feel fantastic today. I didn't get a great night's sleep, but I was thinking, man, oh man, am I going to be hurting today? My legs are going to be hurting. My back's going to be hurting. But I feel fantastic thanks to the folks over at Early Bird CBD. Those drops are fantastic. If you got pain.
If you like pain, don't worry about Early Bird CBD.
Really.
If you like stress and anxiety, Don't worry about early bird CBD. If you like not being able to sleep, this stuff's not for you. Like, move on. Move on. Don't listen to us anymore. Early bird CBD, I take it to relieve some stress. I take it to unwind. I take it to get some shut-eye at the end of a long day, especially for traveling. My God, the older I get, I'm getting old, Buck. Hotel beds. I had to sleep on an air mattress at a bachelor party a couple weeks ago.
Oh, the old air mattress,
Aren't I
huh?
too old for that? Like, once you get to your
No,
30s,
no, you're good. You're good until your 40s before the air mattress things wears off. That's like going camping. You're not sleeping in a sleeping bag anymore.
no, I'm probably good on the camping bit these
Yeah.
days. Look, Early Bird CBD, we've got our reasons. You'll find one. We love these products. You will too. Local Austin company, products designed to make you feel good. They do just that. Earlybirdcbd.com. Use the promo code Bucky, and you're going to get 20% off your first order from our great friends at Early Bird CBD. Well, I'll tell you what, Buck, you might need an Early Bird CBD to get through the NFL Hall of Fame game tonight.
Jeez.
Come on, man. 7 o'clock on NBC. And coverage already going on NBC. They're all over it.
My NBC is back.
Your NBC is back. Shout out to, what is it, Fubi?
Fubo.
Fubo.
Something like that.
Shout out.
Fubi.
Shout out to whatever that is. They're your furries out there. You got a game 7 o'clock. The Carolina Panthers, the Arizona Cardinals from Canton, Ohio. That will officially kick off the 2026 NFL preseason. It's the only NFL game this week. Everybody else will play their preseason openers next week, including the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Texans. Are you going to be watching this one tonight, sir?
What time did you say it started?
7 o'clock.
Yeah, Buck's gonna have to have a. We'll probably end up with a little nappy poo. And of course, yes, I'll watch some of it. Depends on if the WNBA is playing tonight.
Well,
We
they
don't
are
wanna-
playing tonight, so are you not watching the NFL now?
You know, I have an allegiance to the WNBA at times.
Do you have like some secret NIL deal with the W that you just haven't told us about?
No, I just every once in a while I'll flip and I'll hit it, and then I'll watch it. I won't watch like a full quarter of it, but I'll watch a couple plays up and down the court
Okay.
and see some of the fundamentals, because I always hear how the great fundamentals that they have when they're not tripping over each other or one's not tackling the other girl. I mean, you know, so it's okay. But yeah, I'll watch some of the football.
I thought you were trying to be nice to the ladies there, and then
Trying to get the award. I think we can get this award. I think we can come into this new season starting with football. You know, they've got flag football now. You know, everybody's playing the flag football because I think is that not in the Olympic Games coming up?
it will be in the 2028 LA
So we'll have
Olympics.
men's and women's flag football, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Well, I need to show some love to the women and flag football. So I've been trying to get into watching some of that flag football stuff.
Okay. I like that. That's good. Way to go, ladies. Way to go, Buck. You've come around. You care about women now a little bit.
It's taken me a while, but I'm there.
It's taken you a while. Well, how about a Carson Beck, Kenny Pickett quarterback matchup tonight? If that doesn't get you going, I really don't know what will.
I'll be definitely looking for flag football.
I think I'd rather watch flag football than some of that. Of course,
Will you be putting Cowshy money on that kind of game?
Uh,
You like those. You can't do that to yourself.
is the Pope Catholic?
That's like jumping off sides. That's like the P word. Why would you do that? Why would you place money on that?
It's the game that sets the tone for the entire season. This is
Oh,
how
I
it
see.
works. It's the first opportunity to trade on football. And if you get it right, then you're going to have a great year. If you get it wrong, like my cousin did last year, then it's going to be a rough one. And sure enough, it was a rough one. Here's a picture of Tiny Hands Kenny Pickett.
Oh my God.
For those of you watching this show,
Oh,
getting ready for tonight's game. Look,
oh,
I will
it's
be
awful.
I will be locked in. You've got the Hall of Fame ceremony coming up this weekend. The reason it's these two teams playing, Luke Kuechly's getting inducted. Obviously, I don't want to say long-time Carolina Panther. He didn't play as long as a Hall of Famer typically plays, but my God, he accomplished so much in his short career. Obviously, well-deserving of a
Go
spot.
Boston
Canton.
College Eagle.
Old Boston College Eagle, yes, congrats to you. And then, of course, Larry Fitzgerald, one of the best wide receivers I've ever seen, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame as well. Arizona's really bad. I've been seeing some clips of their training camp leading up to this game, and they are not good. Uh-oh. The return of the Echo.
The Echo just came back.
What is going on?
I think it's part of AI and part of the heat.
That was the deal yesterday. We blamed AI. The little picture of tiny hands Kenny Pickett ruined things.
Could have been. Boy, are those hands tiny.
All right, I'm leaving for a second. You got to
All
talk.
Yeah, folks, I will not participate in putting my money on. I don't do that for preseason football games or any preseason sports. I don't. It's just a waste of, it's not a waste of time. If you like football, you're going to watch football. But if you're putting your hard-earned money, that is not smart. That's BK loves to do that. As he says, he's just preparing himself for a good or bad real gambling season when the regular season starts.
Yep. Well, still there? Not there? I think we're good. I think we're
There you
clear.
go.
I am curious. We get a rookie quarterback, Carson Beck, the third-round pick of Arizona this year. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is the starter in the desert. We know he's not a franchise quarterback. We know he's not long for the job out there, and you're not going to learn the answers to this in the preseason, but Arizona has a chance to be the worst team in the NFL this season, meaning they have a chance to win the Arch Manning sweepstakes.
Yes, they do.
Obviously, we'll see if Arch Manning ends up going pro, number one, after this year. He could come back for 2027, and there's plenty of really talented quarterbacks that will be draft eligible next April. But yeah, Arizona is a team that I'm going to be paying some close attention to. I think I'd rather Arch end up there than, matter of fact, I know I'd rather Arch end up
Yes.
there than with the Cleveland Browns and with the New York Jets.
Yeah, I would say yes on that, on all fronts.
If there's a door number 4, I'd probably prefer to find that one too. But I think Carson Beck's going to get a lot of opportunities, not just in the preseason, but in the regular season. Like once it's obvious that
Sure.
Arizona's out of the playoff mix, which they're in maybe the best division in football. No, maybe. They are in the best division in football. And I think they're going to be out of things like a month in. Carson Beck will get opportunities to play. If he plays well and looks like he could be a future franchise QB in this league, then all right, maybe Arizona doesn't have any interest in Arch Manning. But if he struggles, then they're not going to care that they spent a third rounder on him in 2026. They're going to be all in on Arch Manning or Dante Moore or Tobago Chambliss or any of these
Yeah.
other guys.
You're not going to see Love play. You're not going to see the running back from the Cardinals, and you're probably not going to see Brooks play, Jonathan Brooks play either, coming off the knee. They're not putting those guys in a preseason game.
No, they're not.
There's going to be guys that are just who's able. They're hoping they can make the team. You'll see probably playing running back tonight.
Yeah,
You're not
that's,
going to get your guys hurt in game one.
excuse me, Buck.
And as you said, on that turf hasn't been good unless they've torn that up, unless they've put World Cup kind of turf in there now.
I don't think they've done that in Canton, Ohio.
I think they
But
play like high school games there during the season.
I think we're expected to get good weather there, which is good because they will just pull the plug on this game altogether if it's raining. Like they don't want anybody getting hurt. It's the preseason.
You're
It's
right.
outside. It's a crappy field. Yeah, but I don't think we have that. I am bummed that Jonathan Brooks is not playing. Like, obviously,
Because you got to see him play at some time.
right. His the first couple of years of his NFL career have unfortunately been marred by injury. He's been there since 2024, and there's not a lot of stats. He's played in 3 games so far, and all of those came in the 2024 season. Missed the entirety of 2025. So understand that they're not playing him tonight, but I would like to see him at some point in the preseason, more so at some point in the regular season. Rooting for him. But yeah, no Jeremiah Love, Arizona's top 3 pick. The Panthers' first-round pick, some offensive lineman, is not playing. I don't think we'll see Bryce Young in this game tonight. So, yeah, look, I think everybody knows what the Hall of Fame game is. Everybody kind of knows what the preseason is. We'll talk more about the Dallas Cowboys later, but like Shoddy has already come out and said our starters aren't going to play at all in the preseason, which is no surprise because last year under Schottenheimer, the starters didn't play at all. Now, I'm curious if we see Caleb Downs, like, does he show up at any point in the preseason? Because he's a starter, but he's also a rookie. But that's look, the preseason is a joke. Always kind of has been, but now it is more so than ever before. And we've got 3 preseason games for all these teams, Buck. I think within the next couple of years, we will be down to 2 preseason
Yes,
games.
I'll be glad. Yeah, because they're going to move up. They're going to put one more game in the regular season.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're headed towards an 18-game regular season
Wow.
schedule.
God, that's a lot
And
of games.
obviously preseason and regular season games aren't created equal. I know the players don't love the idea of playing an extra regular season game, but the owners want money, and that means we're going to get that. And hey, here you go, players. We'll take away a preseason game. Y'all say you hate the preseason. Well, we do too. But here's what we need from you.
Amazing.
Amazing. So 7 o'clock tonight on NBC. I'm going to go with Carolina. I'm going to go with the favorites in this one.
Look at you. Look at you throwing it out there.
I don't know if I could gold star lock. That's your bit, but give me the Panthers. And I think the over-under is like 36.5, which, yeah,
You don't
brace
even want to
yourself.
play with that. That would be under.
This is Army-Navy level totals here.
Yes.
That's what we're dealing with. That is what we are dealing with. So there you go. That's your NFL conversation.
Let me ask you this, BK.
Yep.
A little off topic. Did I see that Dick Vitale has been diagnosed with cancer for the 5th time?
I don't know how many times it
I think
is,
it said
but
5.
I know it's,
Talking about dodging that bullet. Whoa.
yeah. Well, he hasn't been able to dodge the bullet, it
No, he
seems.
really hasn't. 5 times. I think I saw it. It came up on my phone. It was his fifth dealing with cancer. Man,
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
did.
prayers to Dickie V.
I think he gave a positive update yesterday on that cancer, which is good. Seems like things are as good as they could possibly be. But yeah, that guy has been through it in this life, and
Man,
yeah, thoughts and prayers to Dickie V, college basketball legend, baby. We know that.
yeah,
All
just
right.
it says Brooks is fully recovered, but they're not going to put him out there. Their expectations are big things, and they're not going to. Maybe later on in the preseason, maybe game, as you said, maybe game 3.
I don't know. I just know he's not playing tonight. I don't know the ins and
Yeah.
outs of the Carolina Panthers preseason schedule, but he's not playing, unfortunately. So that would be a reason to watch, and we don't have that reason to watch. All right, Eric Henry of Horns 24/7 is about to join us. We'll get his thoughts on everything he saw at Texas football fall camp day 1 yesterday, and his biggest takeaways from what Steve Sarkisian had to say in his post-practice press conference. You know what? I think I see him ready. He's ready to rock and roll. Joining us
Nice.
now from horns247.com, the beat writer for Texas football, Texas men's basketball, and really everything else. The great Eric Henry joins Bucky and BK. Henry, what's going on, man? How are you?
Good morning, fellas. Sorry for my tardiness. A lot going on this morning.
You're good, man. How was practice yesterday? The opportunity that you had to be at practice. The guys look. I mean, is that a physical specimen looking group? Do they look good coming off the bus?
Buck, for those of us who are football diehards, there's nothing better than getting out there, seeing those guys back in helmets, the smell of the grass. And to your question, I mean, in terms of a sheer size perspective, I think that's one of the things that's, this being my 4th year covering the team, you can kind of tell that gradual progression, right? In terms of just the eye test, right? That, hey, if you've ever played football, you ever played basketball, you ever played a sport where you see that team when they enter the gym, it's like, oh, those guys, they're big, they jump high, they run fast. Texas fits that bill, no doubt.
Wow.
Great to hear. So, biggest takeaways yesterday, Eric, besides the aesthetics. I mean, I know it's shells and shorts, there's no pads. You don't want to draw any sweeping conclusions from day one, but is there any player or any position group that maybe you were paying the most attention to while you were there that stood out yesterday?
Yeah, keep me up there because tight end is a position that I've paid a lot of attention to in my time covering Texas. There's no two ways about it, right? Steve Sarkisian's offense is at its most productive and its most efficient when there are multiple tight ends who can do multiple things, right? I.e., block effectively, and be receiving threats. I think that was missing last year. Jack Hendry's, a very solid receiving threat. Obviously, made him a 7th-round pick, but not quite that well-rounded blocker that you expect out of, a Gunnar Helm or even JT Sanders gave his best at 6'4", 245 to block, right? You're getting that this year in my mind, Spencer Shannon, 6'7", 255. It seems as if his ability to get in and out of routes and improve as an athlete has come along, because you're talking about a kid who, Bucky, back in your day when you were coaching, you could never imagine recruiting a tight end who only had, 4 receptions in his high school career. But you're talking about a guy in Spencer Shannon that was a project. He was a basketball player in high school, right? So he's steadily coming along. And Michael Masunas, the tight end from Michigan State, listen, when you see number 15 out there in the cutoff jersey, you think you're looking at a defensive end. 6'5", 260, just jacked, but also, again, from an athletic perspective, looks really smooth. And I think Texas may have found a diamond in a rough there. Again, a kid with the Spartans who did not have a ton of receptions, but I think the potential is there.
Yeah, both of them have good hips, so they move pretty good at the waist there. And especially when it comes, where they're not really run blocking, but can you tell if they're in that 3-point stance, how they come out and bend at the hips?
Right. And to your point, Buck, like from what we're seeing right now, you're not getting, 11 on 11. You're not even getting much of that. You're getting more of kind of the indie work, the position specific work with Jeff Banks. And in that sense, I think you see it, right? In my time covering Texas, no one has looked as good as Gunnar Helm, right? Kind of coming out of his stance, being kind of, initiating that block. I would say Masunas is the closest I've seen to that in terms of looking smooth. Right. So that certainly gives you room for optimism.
Yeah. Bucky out here asking Eric Henry about guys' hips. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, when you got a guy 6'7", that's a lot of bending right there for that dude. I would think he'd be playing up high, even in some of his releases, but it sounds like he can get down here at 3-point stance and get out of release and go.
Yeah. Eric Henry, horns247.com, joining us here on Bucky and BK. Well, the offensive line, E. Henry. Lawrence Seymour, day one for him, working with the threes. Again, you're not trying to make any big depth chart declarations here, but I know a lot of Longhorn fans excited to see and hear about him. Any first impressions of the transfer guard coming in from Western Kentucky?
I apologize as my robot vacuum is trying to make its way into my office here, so apologize if you hear that in the background. No, listen, right? Lawrence is a guy, you just take a look at his career. He began his career at Miami, had to travel a couple places, went to Akron, Western Kentucky. There was a reason for that. He needed to kind of round out his game. I think the big thing with Lawrence, and I have a little bit of familiarity with him, A, having covered Group of Fives prior, and B, being from Florida, covering, South Florida, right? When Lawrence came out of Miami Central, he was 6 foot tall. He was not 6'2". I think if you take a look at him amongst the offensive linemen, it's clear. I think Texas has him at 6'2". He's about 6 foot, 6'1" So I think from that perspective, he looks a little smaller, but certainly in terms of width, right? A stout guy. And I think just it's going to take him time, right? Because he wasn't there in the summer, he wasn't there in the spring. But let me give you this. I'll give this to you and Bucky. I asked Steve Sarkisian this question. There was an offensive line. I'll broaden out your question, BK. Last year, if you look at Texas starting 5, right, that they went with Ohio State, Trevor Gooseby, Connor Stroh, Cole Hudson, DJ Campbell, Brandon Baker. That group only had played 1,500 snaps of football the year prior. Texas has the possibility of going with Gooseby, Lawrence Seymour, Connor Robertson, Brandon Baker, and Melvin Siani. That group played just under 4,000 snaps this year. So I think experience as a whole is going to benefit this group, whether it's Lawrence Seymour, Cole Hudson, we'll see what the courts has to say, or even, a younger guy like Andre Kojo. Just sheer experience is going to benefit this group in 2026.
Eric, did they line up with offensive versus defense, even with just the helmets on, just to walk through and stuff like that?
They may have done so, just wasn't during our viewing period.
Because we were talking about penalties and stuff. Anybody flinching and jumping? Any coaches going crazy in day one about guys' movement before the snap and everything else like that?
Yeah, again, Bucky, we weren't witness to it because during our 32-minute portion, it was a lot of indie work. We got it, a little bit of skeleton, just kind of offensive skeleton, then going routes on air. So we didn't get any of that. But to your point, right? A Texas team, 133rd out of 134 teams in penalties last year. The year before that, remember, Texas was 126th. So they've been bad for multiple years in terms of being penalized.
Yeah, no doubt. Something that needs to improve. Eric Henry, horns247.com, joining us here on Bucky and BK. Well, sticking with the offense, I know you wrote a great piece about your observations yesterday, but I want to ask about Ryan Wingo, E. Henry. Bucky and I were talking earlier today about just the Arch Manning, Ryan Wingo connection. It just felt like those guys were not in sync enough last year, despite Wingo putting up some pretty good numbers, being second team all SEC. It seems like the biggest highlight reel play was a deep shot from Arch to Wingo. Kind of your thoughts on what you saw from those two and maybe your expectations for Ryan Wingo in his third year here in Austin.
Yeah, great question, BK. When we saw, I'll point out three guys and then kind of narrow it down to Ryan Wingo. When we saw Wingo, we saw Emmett Mosley, we saw Cam Coleman in that routes on air. No passes hit the ground, right? And that's obviously the expectation. We were going against air. So that certainly is, very optimistic for Texas fans. In terms of Wingo, I think the big thing, you talk about them not being in sync, how much did the wrist play a factor, right? It wasn't that long ago that Xavier Worthy had some issues with drops, and then it came out after the year he was playing with a broken hand. As we learned shortly after the Citrus Bowl, Ryan Wingo had to have wrist surgery. How much did that play a factor in the drops? I don't think that Arch maybe hesitated to go back to Wingo, right? Because that was Texas's #1 receiver last year. But you think it's got to play a factor when you go to that guy and all of a sudden the ball hits the ground. It's like, all right, maybe you're a little gun shy about going back to that guy, right? So you like to think with that cleaned up, that would make a difference. But I think from a sheer explosivity perspective, if that's a word, I guess that's a journalist, I should know if that's a word or not. But from a sheer athletic perspective, you're not going to find a guy who's more dynamic of a #2 receiver than Ryan Wingo.
Yeah, and speaking of being an explosive player, how about Bishop? I mean, just the fact when he catches the ball, is that a different gear than what you see on the field, even with the rest of the guys? I know they've got fast players. I know they got explosive players. But does he have another gear once he touches the ball, even on air?
But it's interesting you mentioned that with Jermaine Bishop, because he was running behind, I believe, Dalen McCutcheon in the slot, right? So it went Emmett Mosley, of course, the starter, Dalen McCutcheon, who was the last year's freshman, played time in the slot, and then Bishop was running third. I don't want to say Bishop's speed is more notable than those first two guys, but it is notable in relation to how I'll frame it. Texas, SEC, the top of the top. He did not look out of place, right? In that sense, he looks like a guy who, and I wrote this as BK noted, I wrote about offensive players the last 2 days. I think Jermaine Bishop has a more difficult route to playing time immediately than, say, a Derek Cooper, just because of the names I listed who are in front of him. But with that being said, because of the speed, because of the athleticism that you referenced, I think they're going to have to find a way to get him involved in the game plan somehow.
Yeah, Eric Henry, horns247.com, joining us. Saw reports of John Meredith III maybe not being able to hold down his lunch. Are you one of those guys? You don't throw up when you see other people throw up, Henry. Were you okay when that happened yesterday?
It's funny. I didn't witness the actual throwing up. What I did witness was him over with Torrey Becton. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Him and Torrey Becton kind of getting himself together. Listen, I'm not going to pick on John Meredith too much. I mean, that's a guy who, about a month and a half ago thought was going to play high school ball, and all of a sudden he's practicing in the SEC. Although I will say this, and I don't mean it as a critique, it's a genuine curiosity. John Meredith is a Texan. He didn't come from Maine and all of a sudden getting this heat. So I think I kind of wondered maybe what he was doing, and not in a bad way. I just genuinely wonder what he was doing while he was in limbo as far as his high school career, because it certainly wasn't what Texas was doing yesterday. That's for sure.
It could very simply be what you ate that morning before you went
True.
Yeah.
100%. Buck, any more football questions? I definitely want to ask Eric about Texas basketball. You got something else on your football brain today?
Yeah, I was gonna ask him the depth in the secondary as you watch those guys do some one-on-ones and some movement. Eric, who looks like a guy who's ready to jump in when needed? Not just the starters, but the borderline guys. Is he #2? Is he #1? I mean, are there guys that are ready? Are there a number of guys that are ready to do that immediately?
Yeah, I'm going to give you two names on the back end there at safety. One, Kobe Black, him making that move from corner to safety. That looks like that's going to pay off really well. He looked real natural back there. And again, Bucky, you can attest, right? Some guys moving from corner to safety, might not necessarily be the most natural transition. But for Kobe Black, a guy who was already physical, who liked to play physical at corner, I think that's going to work out really well at safety. And just hold your breath on this name. Jonah Williams, he looked good back there at safety as well. So I think those are two guys who are ready to step in and possibly make an impact this year.
I love it. Eric Henry, horns247.com, joining us here. You know what? I lied. I said I didn't have any football questions, but Sark's post-practice press conference, we've been playing sound throughout the show, Eric, but it's one presser. We'll hear from Sark a bunch over these next few weeks, but is there anything at all that you heard from him that maybe surprised you or stood out, or was it all, in your eyes, just pretty generic post-day one practice conversation?
It was pretty generic post day one, kind of practice stuff in my mind. I think, we tried to kind of get a read on the Cole Hudson situation, only because for me personally, I would like to know, and you could tell by the second or third Cole question, Steve was getting irritated, so you kind of pivot. But I would like to know from Steve, how much time do you need a guy to be in your camp, right, before you can say, hey, like, this is someone we can lean on in less than almost 30 days, right? Like, how much time does that guy need? Remember a couple of years ago, Belton Gardner, remember the SMU transfer running back who got there like a week before camp? So maybe, depending on position, it may vary, but I would have liked to have known that. And Steve kind of hinted at that a little bit, but outside of that, it was all pretty generic.
I got it. Eric Henry, horns247.com. All right, basketball question for you, E. Henry. Open practice at Moody Center a couple of days ago for some of the press. You were there. I mean, I know we've talked to you this offseason before about the excitement level for Texas men's basketball this season, but any big takeaways from what you saw, and how confident are you in this squad going into Sean Miller's second season?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. Looks like a little breaking news that's related. That might be breaking this on your show. Looks like On3 is reporting Kendall Weaver has landed at Houston if his injunctions go through. So I'll just drop that nugget in there for you. But as far as Longhorns who are actually on this year's roster, I mean, BK, you were there in San Jose, right? Like, that was a team that got hot at the right time. And listen, they were a Trey Kaufman-Wren, tip-in away from making the Elite Eight. But that was not an Elite Eight team. I don't think I'm speaking out of bounds by saying that, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at the roster, you look at Isaiah Johnson, Mikey Lewis impressed me, Amari Evans, quite frankly, no disrespect to Kendall, an upgraded Kendall Weaver, a bigger Kendall Weaver as that defensive guy. Marcus Spears Jr. as possibly your first big off the bench. No disrespect to Lassina Traore or Zarek Onyema of years past, but upgrade is an understatement, right? This is a team that as Bucky talked about, right, that guys walking to the gym and you see them jumping out of the gym and, running and jumping in the 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", Texas fits that bill. This is a very impressive team. If I were to give you one or two names specifically, I think Mikey Lewis definitely impressed me. Him kind of, as a ball handler. I thought he was a guy, when you look at the numbers at St. Mary's last year, BK, you think like, okay, this is a guy who just takes a bunch of shots on a team that's average. No, I think his game has the ability to rise on a team that has a lot of good players. And Isaiah Johnson, point guard play is going to be improved. Nice.
That's got to be fun to watch, because I'd ask the question of, is this a group with the mixture with old and young that can the fundamentals of the game? If they get pressed, are the other four guys who are on the court know where to be? Do they know where their position should be, instead of having one guy get double teamed and everybody's just all scattered all over the place? Do they look like a group that has already those fundamentals already down? Are they that kind of? Is it that kind of group? I know it's early, but do they look like a team that can handle that kind of pressure, press, nowhere to be on the court kind of team?
Yeah, Bucky, I'll say this, right? I'm going to say this a little bit trepidatiously, but I feel confident saying it. It's not like I'm at every basketball practice, so I can't, say this like this is for sure a thing. But when you see Sean Miller, for the time that we were able to see him explain certain basketball concepts, specifically on defense, it looked like there was an ability to absorb and then go out there and do in a way that last year's team couldn't. And in defense, those guys, Bucky, maybe they just weren't skilled defensive players, right? Maybe they tried their best, but they just weren't good at it. But it looked different with these guys. David Punch, most notably from TCU, like the defensive concepts looked like, all right, hey, Sean's saying, here's what I need you to do. Boom, go do it, and it's executed.
Awesome. Love to hear that. So excited. Obviously excited for football. That comes first. But, man, I haven't been this excited for a men's basketball year here in Austin in a long time. Hopefully that makes your job a little more fun this year, E. Henry. Hopefully we got a trip
no more
together.
trips to Dayton, BK.
I was going to say, hopefully we got a trip to Detroit to make together next April. That's obviously the ultimate goal. You're the man. Before we let you go, we always give Chip the opportunity to do this. I want to give you the opportunity to promote everything that you guys have going on Horns 24/7 and horns247.com right now, Eric.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, at horns247.com, all the intel on fall training camp, who's standing out, the insider. Chip just published that today. I've got, my first word series that, definitely riled up some Texas fans a little bit when I said it's time for Chris Del Conte and Texas to put a patch and a sponsorship on the jersey, because guess what? It takes money to fund these athletic programs. Texas can't afford to fall behind there. So check out the first word column. Check out my guy, David Eckert's doing great work, all of it over at horns247.com.
Beautiful. Great stuff as always, Eric. Appreciate the time, my friend, and hopefully we get the chance to talk again soon.
Thank you, Eric.
Anytime, friends. Appreciate it.
There he goes, Eric Henry, horns247.com, talking all things Texas football, all things Texas basketball. Plenty of reasons for excitement for both. And the echo's back. And we're going to have to get on another phone call after the show to fix this.
All right, cool.
I'm probably going to have to leave for a second and come back. So let's do some sponsor shout-outs, Buck.
You got it, folks. If you're seeking that specialized patient-focused orthopedic care, contact the experts and our friends at Texas Orthopedics. Their physicians offer comprehensive surgical and non-surgical orthopedic care for children and adult rehabilitation, spinal care, sports medicine, joint replacement, and more. Their doctors are dedicated orthopedic surgeons there, and their goal is to get you right back into good health and the great quality of life that you deserve. For more information, go to txortho.com. Texas Orthopedics is the largest independent orthopedic practice in Central Texas. And as I said, it's not always about the surgery. They have a great rehab treatment facility there at Texas Orthopedics, and you'll enjoy exactly what they do. For more information, once again, go to txortho.com.
Testing. All right, I think we're okay for now. I might have to go over to your place after the show and get this fixed, because something ain't right, clearly.
If you want me to move some buttons, just let me do it.
I'm afraid to ask you, do you know how to turn down the volume on your computer? Not on your microphone, on the actual computer. You're reaching to a very different spot than I was hoping for.
Volume, BK. Volume is...
I think it's on the top of the keyboard. There's like a little speaker. You see a little speaker with some like...
I do.
So there's...
Okay, I'm going to go...
Oh, boy.
Now you can't hear me at all because it's off.
I can hear you, but...
Okay, maybe that's on too high. How about now?
Okay, well, we'll have to keep trying. Actually, let me play a drop here and see if there's an echo.
Not so fast, midget! Not so fast!
No, still major echo. All right, well, we'll figure
Now
it out.
I'm back. I was back to medium. Now it's hard to hear you. Now I can go back to there. How's that?
Just turn it up. We'll have to.
Yeah, baby.
After the show, it ain't working. We tried last night. We tested it last night, and
It's working fine.
still didn't work. But we didn't have a guest on, and we weren't playing any drops, which is a faulty test by me. So, all right. Well, I don't think there's an echo now, just when we're talking. So we'll have to keep that going. But we might need Tom McKay. We may need AV consultations to check out our issues right now, because this is bad. This is real bad.
Well,
all right.
I'm a computer genius, so.
I wasn't going to put your business out there, but because you said that, I will say it took a 20-minute phone call yesterday for me to explain to you how to restart your computer.
Yeah, it took a while. Then my wife came up and got some stuff done.
Oh, no. Was she touching a bunch of stuff?
No, she just took an email off for me.
Okay.
Put on her email and got that done. So
Yeah,
I wasn't touching. I don't touch a lot of stuff.
All right. Yeah, I don't think it was you. If something got changed or happened.
That's what she said. Yeah, I don't really touch a lot of stuff.
That's not a she that I would like to be talking to.
I'm no kidding.
I hate that you have to hear that a lot. That's disappointing for you, man.
Sorry about that.
That's not fun. All right, we'll get back into the sports. Quick shout out, Roger Beasley Mazda, the #1 Mazda dealer in the state of Texas. How about 30 straight President's Club awards for Roger Beasley Mazda South? Again, the #1 volume Mazda dealer in the state of Texas. And talked about my Mazda CX-5. I keep calling it mine because I'm trying to manifest it, but it's a loaner that they gave me to drive around for a few weeks. But I might have to buy one of these things before it's all said and done. Beautiful cars. Mazda's got that legendary reliability. Very safe vehicles, too. You get all-wheel drive standard in all of their SUVs, and you've got the classic suite of safety features, the blind spot monitoring, all sorts of features to keep you and your family safe while you're driving around. And some of these interiors in these new Mazdas, y'all, they are ridiculous. You feel like you're driving a luxury car, and then you look at the price tag from Roger Beasley Mazda South, and you're realizing, well, you're not paying a luxury price. You almost feel like you're getting away with highway robbery when you're driving one of those things. Fantastic dealership off of I-35, just south of Highway 71. Super clean. Showroom's gorgeous. You got great people working there. Dee at the front door. She's going to greet you. She's awesome. Shout out to Brett and Bryant and Ryan and the whole team out there. Great people. Their service department is spectacular. Their customer service is second to none. And Mazdas, check them out. If you're thinking about a new car or a pre-owned, you can trade in. You can get whatever you're looking for. Roger Beasley Mazda South. Again, visit them off of I-35, just south of Highway 71.
Very nice. That bride of yours is smooth.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that ride of yours like it's mine. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, the more you say it, the more you can wish it into, it's going to happen.
Trying to manifest it, as the kids
Yeah,
say.
brother, that's it.
Speak it into
Manifestation.
A manifest destiny. It's my destiny to
go.
drive one of those. It's my destiny to reach out to McCall Custom Homes. Maybe it's your destiny. People dream of a dream home. That's why it's called a dream home. You can turn your dreams into reality if you just reach out to our guy, Mike McCall, and his team at McCall Custom Homes. McCall Custom Homes, ATX.com. That's their website. These guys are legit. A+ rated by the BBB. Tons of 5-star reviews online. Tons of experience as well. It's a father-son team with more than 4 decades of combined experience. So they could turn your current home into a dream home. Or if you want to start from scratch and custom build something from the very beginning, McCall Custom Homes has your back. McCall Custom Homes, ATX.com. Call or text Mike 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Love Mike McCall.
Love Mike McCall. All right. More Texas football or more NFL conversation, Buck?
Texas football.
All right.
Save the NFL for tomorrow after that fabulous game that you're going to be watching all 4 quarters of.
We are going to spend 2 hours tomorrow breaking down the Hall of Fame game.
My God. Well, there goes the listenership.
It's football, man. We're all so desperate to watch. Everybody always says how desperate they are and how much they miss football. We can't wait for it to come back. And then those same people aren't going to watch the first football game of the year?
That football there sucks.
Come on, man. I'd watch a UFL game tonight if we had one.
Oh, my goodness.
I'd watch a high school game tonight if we had one.
I'd watch that, but I wouldn't watch any of that UFL football. That's not going on anymore. We're done. All that stuff is over with. We're just beginning camps for college football, NFL football. The other alleged leagues are done, right?
Yeah, all of I don't know if they're alleged. I think they are real.
Okay, the WNBA is part football. Yeah, I forgot about that, as they tackle each other to the turf.
All right, that's a nice vote of confidence for the WNBA, calling them a very physical league.
Yes, very physical. It's a very physical league.
A lot of people would argue that the NBA has lost its physical nature. So
no, that is soft. They're soft now.
Apparently, it's gone to the W right there.
Yeah, the W. People are going to get elbowed in the face. Somebody's going to get grabbed by the leg. Somebody's going to stand in a spot where you want to come down so that your ankles buckle or your knee. They don't care. Those women are vicious, man.
Hey, they're athletes, all right?
They can be athletic, yes.
That feels like a slight right there. Come on. They're playing for their livelihoods here. They're making millions and millions of dollars, I think, to play basketball. So they got to earn their keep.
So now with the WNBA, that will be the Olympics. Will they be in the Olympic Games, or that during the time when they'll be playing their games? Huh.
I got to introduce you to Google, Buck.
You know what? By the way, nobody cares, Buck. You're right. I thank you. Whoever got ready to say that, who hadn't said it yet.
I didn't say. I'm putting words into my mouth. All right, Texas football here.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Steve Sarkisian was asked about the freshmen yesterday. And look, most of the freshmen were early enrollees, so they went through spring practice. So it's not like
Yep.
their first taste of a Texas football practice, but obviously it's the real deal. We're a month away from the start of the season. And I think Sark specifically was asked about Richard Wesley, the 5-star freshman edge, and Tyler Atkinson, the 5-star freshman linebacker. And he kind of turned this into a, what do you look for from your freshman answer? What do you want to see from them early on in their first few days of fall camp? Here was Steve Sarkisian yesterday responding to that question.
Do they know what to do? Like, this is a very, day one, it's really pared down. So can they process the information from the meeting room, take it to the practice field, and apply it? I don't expect them to be perfect, but that is the best indicator, because the skill set is the skill set. We know what that is, but that's the best indicator of what it might look like down the road, that they can take in information, process, and go do. Learn in the meetings tonight, apply some of the things that they need to be coached on to get better at, and then show me that they can do that again tomorrow. And that's the key to the drill with those guys as they kind of work their way through training camp.
Yeah, they generally want to do things their way, like they're used to beating guys in high school, or or playing against somebody they're bigger and stronger and faster than. They want to know if you can apply the skills that they've taught you there, even that you went through in the spring and now you're back in the fall. Can you do that? Can you do it like the coach asked you to do it? And most of those young guys, guys that play tackle or will move out there and go one-on-one versus those guys, most of those guys get buckled by those dudes, those veteran dudes. They grab them, they hold them, because as I said, BK, they don't have any officials there most of the times. They'll just grab them by the jersey and fling them to the ground when they're trying their high school stuff on them, their little swim techniques. They'll hit them in the hip. When one leg is off the ground, they'll hit them jab them in the hip, and they'll go down to the ground. And then most of the guys end up diving on top of them, which, you get a penalty for that. But they try to teach those freshmen some early lessons that, no, you're not going to get away with the same stuff you got away with in high school up in here. Not on me. It won't happen. That's got to be fun. But what do you learn? What does Muschamp teach you about some of the technique you can use on some of these veteran guys? And that's what we have to have, because it doesn't just involve where you think you can go and beat a guy because somebody else is filling the spot that you're not in because you've tried your own technique. So it kind of works hand in hand.
Yeah, you got to send a message to the younger guys, right?
Well, yeah, and they get sent a message. Generally, those guys that come out as these great outside guys, and they talk about how quick they were and how many sacks they had in high school. You get against a college tackle, and they get their grips on you. Well, they'll hold the crap out of you. Like I said, there's nobody calling anything except for the coaches, and nobody's getting. It's not like a game, so they'll grab a hold of your jersey inside the framework around your neck and take you and fling you so far, that weight that you have on, that high school weight that you have on that you've been trying to gain when you're at college and getting into the weight room. Yep. They work you like nobody else can work you, those tackles do. And they are mean because they're out there on that island and they ain't going to get beat for nobody.
Yeah, well, let them know that it's a little different. And
yeah.
I mean, these guys are 5 stars. They're used to being the best players on Friday nights and basically any game that they played in and any field that they stepped on. But now they're going to a college team, and not just any college team, maybe the most talented college roster in the country. So big step up in competition. Again, the early enrollee thing is so great for these guys and for the team itself because it's like they've already been through this, right? They've got months of going up against these grown men, and they've gone through the strength and conditioning programs. I mean, some of these freshmen have already put on 5-10 pounds over the course of one off season and just totally transformed their body. So getting these guys in early definitely helps, but yeah, we're still talking about 17 and 18-year-old kids practicing against 21, 22, 23-year-old men at this point. So that's
how about standing, getting in line, you're going to go one-on-one. We're going to quick whistle this, but we're going to go. And some freshman looks at Trevor Gooseby and said, I'd like to have you first. That guy that's on defense looks at Trevor Gooseby, and Gooseby looks at him and goes, okay.
Well, that'll be next week, right? When the pads come on, you'll start to see stuff like that. But look,
they'll do some stuff right now, some shadow stuff, where you'll hear their hands hitting those bodies, hitting those big dudes in the shoulders. They don't shy away from that stuff. I mean, like I said, if you go to a pro camp, that is the loudest sound in the world when those guys only have their helmets on and their shorts, and they hit each other's bodies with their hands. It sounds like somebody just getting slapped all over the joint. So I can imagine some freshman telling Gooseby, yeah, I'd like to have you first. And him looking over and going, okay.
Yeah, I think Trevor Goosby's a pretty humble guy, but he would welcome that
Oh my
competition
gosh.
and welcome that offer.
And he slams you and you don't have any pads on it. He gets his big hands on your no shoulder pads or just your jersey that you got in your skin. And he decides to fling you somewhere. Man.
Yeah. Yeah, no thanks. I'm thinking about myself doing that, and I'm
Yeah,
good.
no.
I don't need that in my life. Yeah, Trevor Goosby, I mean, a takeaway from yesterday, and we've had this thought for a while. That guy could be at an NFL training camp right now, and he would fit in perfectly.
Yes.
Like, he could have gone pro. He would have been a pretty high draft pick this past April if he decided to go pro. He practices like a pro. He looks like a pro, and thank God he's not a pro. We're very happy that he is here for one more season in Austin. He is the real freaking deal. But yeah, with the freshmen, whether it's Tyler Atkinson or Richard Wesley or anybody else, I mean, you have to trust them, right? Like that's so important, Buck. They could have all the skills in the world, but if they don't know the scheme, if they don't know where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do, there's no chance.
Yeah, because the scheme fits everybody. It's not just for them.
Yeah, I don't care if Derek Cooper can make everybody miss. If Arch Manning turns one way and Derek Cooper's not there to receive the football, then what good does it do? Like,
You're
it's
absolutely right.
basic stuff, obviously, but that's what Steve Sarkisian was talking about. We got to make sure our guys are picking up the concepts, picking up what we're putting down, and okay, it's day one. Can they take it to day two and day three and moving forward? Are they getting better? Are they cleaning up the mistakes to make sure that those aren't turning into bad habits that keep showing up day in and day out? That's what the head coach and what all the coaches are looking for.
Yeah, and by the way, some of this stuff is pretty sophisticated for some of these guys. So it's, they don't have to put tape on their right foot to let them know that that's your right foot and left foot so that you're going left. There's a lot of things involved. And like you said, running backs have to know exactly where the quarterbacks turn into. They want to know, I mean, you're nervous out there. You may have been a great player in high school or, you're trying to make the team. You're not out there just to talk about how you're going to be 2 years from now. When you get on that field at Texas and you've got that kind of scholarship, you want to be a part of the team immediately. As you said, you're used to being a star. You're not used to riding the pines. So when you get out there, those simple mistakes, coaches want to see how you learn. Are we going to have to, some guys will learn visually. Other guys, you can talk to them. You can show them film work. They understand it that way. But guys learn differently. That was for me the greatest thing about having a minor in special education. I had to be able to teach kids and special needs kids on how to learn things. And they're not all the same. They don't all learn the same. You may have to go over and over with a kid about, as I said, you may have to put R on the right foot. Here's where we're going. We're going, look down. There's the R. We're going right this time.
That's not a vote of confidence for the 1996 Texas Longhorns, is it?
No,
I had to use my special education background to teach these guys.
People learn differently.
Sure.
It just really is. I mean, all of these guys aren't like all scholars, They didn't come out of high school. You know that. You've been around these guys. I've been around these guys. They're not doing the major speeches at places, some of them. So you got to make sure that you're able to teach and communicate to them what's necessary. And some of these offenses and defense, they're kind of sophisticated. It's
Sure.
not easy. And you're nervous as hell. You're about to pee on yourself out there. I mean, if you make a mistake, you're going to hear it.
Oh yeah.
The coach is going to set a tone with you. He's helping you, but he's helping the others. And it's easy to yell at you than it is to yell at that junior over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They give it to you. They make sure that you understand them immediately.
These practices are different with Will Muschamp back. Look, Pete Kwiatkowski, again, did a lot of good things as the DC here, but he was not as rah-rah, as in-your-face, as intense as Coach Boom is. So it's just a different feel with that guy there. And Jeff Banks is constantly loud. I mean, that guy was hoarse 15 minutes into practice yesterday. Yeah. So they're coaching. That's how it goes.
And it's not just for the players, it's for the coach. The coach wants to know, how am I going to coach? I got to find out how I can coach this kid and make him understand what we're trying to get out of him in the first couple of days. Because as time goes on, you don't have that kind of time to be spending with the individual. You're on to the next guy, the next guy, the next guy. So you can't spend 4 days trying to get the guy to go through one or two plays that he really has trouble with getting. That's up to the player to say, Coach, you got a little extra time for me after practice. The coach will be. It's just like your teachers. You don't show up to their class, BK, and then all of a sudden you need a little help in an exam. Hey, can you cut me a break? But if you show up and you're still struggling, you show up every time a professor has a class and you're sitting right in front. I always tell my guys, don't be the guy up top there where he can't see you. Let that professor know that you're interested. And if you're struggling, they will say, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to cut you to the break. I see you here. Every time I have a class, you're sitting right in front of me. You may not understand a damn thing I'm saying, but you attend my class. You listen to what I'm saying, but you still struggle with it. But boy, on a football field, dude, you're going to be right in front of them all the time. But they have to move on. The coaches have to move on. They can't spend a lot of time with it.
Were you that student?
Was I that student? No, dude, I was up top so far where no professor saw me.
All right, just making sure.
I was smart enough to pass that on. And a lot of the players that I've coached that have made it through, like Howard Griffith and some of these guys that I've coached, they took that into heart. I'm going to show my teacher that I'm interested in what they're teaching. That should be my job, is to show them that I'm interested. I may not get it, but if they know I'm interested, if I say I need a little bit of help, or I'm struggling and I'm borderline making it or not making it, that guy or that lady is going to give them an opportunity compared to the guy that's sitting up in the corner who never pays attention. They don't see him all the time. That's the least you can do for a teacher.
Yeah, I'm just not.
You were that guy up top too. You weren't in the middle. Were you not in the middle?
I was that guy in West Campus drinking.
Instead of being at the class?
Yeah, I was not schmoozing the professor. I mean, at the end of the semester, I was like, hey, help me out here.
Hey, can you give me some help? I never come to your class, but can you help me out here?
I didn't say that. I didn't say I was never there. I would always say I'm just pretty quiet. Like, I keep to myself, but I was there. Please pass me. All right. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You and I had different college experiences.
The same works in football. The guys that will ask, there's not many coaches that will say, I don't have time after practice to go over this with you. They want you to say that. They want you to be able to come to them.
Shoot.
That's when they want to do it. They don't want to do it during practice. I want to spend my time coaching you like this during practice, saying this to you like 6 times. Come after practice, stay a couple minutes. I'll be around here with you. We'll go through it. You just don't have that kind of time.
Right. Well, the coaches better say yes to that. They're making too much money to not say yes to that. That's how it goes. All right. Good stuff there. More Texas football conversation tomorrow. More practice takeaways and observations and everything else going on in fall camp. Here's your mention of Mark Stoops on staff. Mark, it's so weird seeing pictures of Mark Stoops wearing Longhorn gear. I mean, just any Stoops coaching for Texas. Part of me thinks like he's just giving information to Oklahoma. He's like a covert insider spy or something like that, although his brothers aren't on staff anymore in Norman, so I don't know why he would be doing that. But there's a lot of knowledge with this Texas defensive coaching staff, that's for sure. And hopefully Mark Stoops is making some sort of positive impact with this team. Saw him working with the secondary.
Coach, you need as many of those guys as you can get.
You take them. Yep, you take them. I mean, now you can basically have as many coaches as you possibly want on your staff. So, use it. I like that bit. All right, the BBK news here, Buck, to round out a Thursday program. I know you'd get a kick out of this one. Wish we gave ourselves some more time to talk about this one. We go to Columbia for this story, where a movie showing of the new Spider-Man movie called Spider-Man Brand New Day. Are you interested in seeing this one?
No, I'm not into the Spidey series.
Okay, none of them. Have you seen any of them?
No, not all the way through. I was a comic book Spider-Man guy, but I'm not a movie Spider-Man guy.
Nerd.
Well, nerd comic guy.
An entire movie theater was evacuated during a screening of Spider-Man due to a moviegoer's uncontrollable bout of rotten flatulence.
Oh, no. Another good fart story?
I don't know if this is a good one. I mean, the movie's going on, everything going swimmingly, and then halfway through the film, all of a sudden, somebody in the audience decides to start letting them rip.
Just loudly interrupting the movie?
And hundreds of moviegoers started to flee their seats. The odor was that bad, they literally got up and left. And then eventually they evacuated the entire theater in the middle of the movie. And there were people dressed up as Spider-Man. Maybe it was that person who
Well, Spidey did it.
maybe it was Spidey who was doing that. Could you imagine?
Yeah, those
dude?
outfits are tight. They kind of squeeze your innards, I think, your stomach and everything.
Oh, you think that's who it was? The person
was
dressed up in the
Yeah.
So a couple of questions here. By the way, that movie did incredibly well.
Yes.
Over the weekend, over its opening weekend. But what do you do if you're in that spot? I mean, you're in a movie at the theater, watching, enjoying. You pay for your ticket. You're sitting there. Movie's halfway through, and then all of a sudden, someone starts ripping ass. What do you do?
Well, if hundreds of you are leaving, hopefully there's going to be another showing for those people to come back.
Yeah, but you're already there. You're halfway through the movie. And this is
Yeah,
the opening weekend. Like, it's probably tough to get a ticket to go see this thing.
But if they tell me at the deal that, hey, listen, here, let me mark the back of your hand or something. You can come back tomorrow or whenever it is. We'll give you a ticket.
So you're okay with that? You're just like, yeah, that's fine. I'll come back
I'm not
tomorrow.
going to sit there and smell that. I'm not going to be able to suck that up. No.
Well, you're always the guy on the plane who's like, I don't care if someone's crapping on the plane. We got to go somewhere.
That's a destination. A movie theater is not a destination. I can come back to the movie theater. I can't get to Cancun or some place Chicago, where I'm trying to get to. Take another plane. I'm not boarding any more planes. But at movie theater, I'm getting out of it. I'm not smelling your smelly ass.
So
I'm
let
getting
me
out of there.
let me ask you this, because it doesn't sound like they found the culprit. But let's just say you're in this theater, and you know who the culprit is. I'm not saying it's you. I'm saying it's like the guy next to you or gal next to you. Like, you can hear it coming from.
And I'm watching them turn sideways and stuff.
Sure, and you know it's them.
I'm ratting them out. I'll rat them out. I'll tuck my phone on and put the light on and said, here's the rat right beside me right here.
There you go.
Here's the stink monster that's causing all you people to leave.
How bad must it smell for an entire movie theater to have to leave?
I don't know. Some of that food at the movie theaters, some of it, they're doing theaters that have good food, I guess. I don't know how your bowels can get that bad in there. You brought that from home. That's a part of that butt lettuce thing that's going around.
Yeah, that can't be like your normal popcorn or jujubes at the theater.
No,
That's
no duds don't do that to you.
No junior mints. That's got to be
That's butt lettuce. That's butt lettuce. That's from your guys at, TB.
Yeah, it could very well be TB. Now, if it's butt lettuce, it'd make a mess. It wouldn't just be farts. It sounds like it would be stuff coming out. And then it'd be very easy to identify who is causing all of these issues here.
No,
but
if that person was near me, I'd get my phone, get the light on, and flash it and start pointing. Right there. This is the one.
The Green
This
Goblin.
is the razor right here.
The Green Goblin wishes they had that kind of chemical warfare to make a Spider-Man punch.
To make people leave, hundreds of people leave, they closed the theater?
Yeah, they evacuated the theater. It's crazy. It had to be like a stink bomb, right? Like, there's no way someone's gas is that bad. Those theaters are big. Now, this is Columbia. I don't know if it's a different size theater or whatever, but I hear hundreds of people evacuating. That makes me think that it's a pretty standard-sized movie theater.
So gross.
That's got to be like, that ain't Taco Bell for lunch. That's you're eating a beefy 5-layer in the theater. And it's just going straight through you right there, man.
That's just nasty.
You got kryptonite for Superman. Apparently, chronic farting is the Spider-Man issue.
Plus, you can't just hold that. You can't hold that and just walk out and then come back, because then you're going to keep getting up, getting back. People are going to get all bummed out.
You got to be a little more respectful. I know, like, if that's you paid for your ticket, you don't want to leave, but you gotta up and leave, right, for your fellow man and woman.
Well, if you know you smell like that, you've been around your own stink bombs. You know how bad they can be. If it's bad enough to knock people out of the theater, you need to get up and leave. Hell, you need to get up and leave the whole theater, not even do that in the bathroom. Go to your house. Go see Spider-Man some other time when there's nobody around. See Spider-Man 3 months from now or something.
Yeah, you might need a few months before that's all cleared up, if it's that bad.
What are you doing if there's a plane, BK? Are we stopping at? We're not stopping at some other airport. We're not bringing that baby down if it smells that way.
Someone's getting stabbed.
Yeah, that's right. We got to get to our destination. Somebody's about to get stabbed in the head with this fork.
Hey, there's an emergency exit. Just throw that guy or gal off the plane and let's keep going.
No, we don't screw up flights.
That's what you would do.
We can go back to movie theaters anytime. Just give me a stub and tell me I can come back and see. I'll see that feature in the middle of the afternoon or something.
So there you go. There's your BBK news for today.
Gross.
National Root Beer Float Day.
On occasions, I'm not a big. Never was when I was younger at the malt shop back in the day.
Okay.
With the Fonz. No.
With the Fonz. National Fresh Breath Day. Take care of your breath, kids, please.
Oh no, man! I've got these two big holes in the back of my mouth. It does. It's getting better, but as it gets to healing up back there, I kind of back up from people a little bit. Got a lot of gum in my mouth, so
Gross. Thanks for that.
yeah, I just want to let people know.
Happy birthday to the Admiral, David Robinson.
How old is the Admiral now? 62.
Very close, 61.
There you go, Buck.
Great guess there. Born on this day, now dead, Lucille Ball.
Oh my goodness, she was great. She was funny as hell. I love Lucy.
And Andy Warhol.
Is that the ghostly looking dude?
That's the artist guy with the Warhol
Artist, yeah, he's
paintings.
ghostly looking, yeah.
Oh, like me, like just very pale.
Oh, he's more pale than you.
That's impossible.
He was like your hat.
That's impossible to be more pale than me,
He
sir.
was like that hat. That's what he looked like.
And M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong. He's alive, but celebrating a birthday today.
Sweet.
Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs, bunch of other good movies.
Once again, lots of prayers to Dickie V.
Prayers to Dickie V. Yeah. Positive update, though, with Dickie V yesterday.
It was good to
hopefully
hear.
the good news keeps coming. All right. That'll do it for us. Thanks to Eric Henry for joining us. Most importantly, thanks to you people for joining us. Again, 8 to 10, as most of you now know, but new time, 8 to 10. So appreciate y'all adjusting your schedules to hang with us. We will be back tomorrow. More Texas football, more NFL conversation as we inch closer to the start of the real season, and expect an hour-and-a-half breakdown from me for the NFL Hall of Fame game, baby.
Oh my goodness.
Just kidding. All right. Buck on to everyone. We will talk to y'all tomorrow.
Hook 'em.
Hook up.